Madness Podcast! The best of the underground! Make madness your ritual!
Hey, what's going on, folks? Hopefully you're having a fantastic Saturday. We are here in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, about to enjoy an art show, Alien Inside with Artemis Sere. Do me a favor real quick, check out Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective. If you get a chance, looking to get some tattoo work done, shoot to South Minneapolis, give them a call. Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective, 612-353-4755, or send them an email at lowbrowsaints@gmail.com. We have a new sponsor as well. Don't forget to check out the now open Shred Den over in Osseo, Minnesota. Let me see here. Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. 9100 85th Avenue North, Suite 100, Osseo, Minnesota. Give them a call, 763-350-2191 or www.theshredden.net. They've got all kinds of pointy guitars over there and all kinds of fancy. We got a buddy who does lessons over there, our buddy Nate Tannick.
Yeah, Nate does lessons. I got some custom built pedals from our buddy Paul up in Fargo.
Oh, yep, some Vader cabinets, all kinds of
out here in Wisconsin. Yeah.
What strings and stuff do they have these days? I know they've just
Ernie Balls and Daddario.
Oh yeah. That's a fresh new guitar shop in the Twin Cities. If you get a chance, please go over to the Shred Den and give them a shout and all that other good stuff. Our friend Artemis Sere has been selected as the artist of the month here at the Artisan Forge in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. It's the 1107 as well as what
1106.
1106.
Yep,
that's what it is.
It aligns with the street address.
Mondovi
1106 Mondovi. Yeah. So we're here all night long. Well, until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, and we've been here quite a while.
I've been here since 10 a.m. Having a fun time with all sorts of people.
Now, I want to say congratulations, man. You sold a piece before you even got here, right?
Pretty amazing stuff. So
somebody out of town.
I have to thank my friend Pat, who is one of the curators here, and I think she drove that sale by talking the person into testing the piece out and checking it out, and
and it's such a special place. I know that when we came here to kind of scope the grounds to see what kind of space you had available to you to put your pieces up, I was absolutely blown away. And we touched on that on the last podcast. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the last podcast, go to youtube.com /Ritual Madness Podcast. You can see all of the podcasts there, but the last one was specifically with Artemis and Mr. Jordan back with us here.
So beautiful to have Jordan back.
It is, man. It's been a lot.
Serendipity.
We started this thing together.
Yeah, we started 2012, and then I had to bow out for
a few years,
various reasons. But I'm back.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Or worse.
Yeah,
for better.
Well, yeah.
No diss to Greg in any way.
No. But today he really he said I can handle some of this tech stuff if you want me to, and everything came together really well, and it looks a lot better than it did when we first got here. So Jordan did that. Did a fantastic job putting it all together and make it look nice. The facility is absolutely amazing, and we're surrounded by art. If you haven't had a chance to stop by the Artisan Forge here in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, please do. It is a fantastic place. If you like art, this is like the spot for it, man. True. They have so many little rooms that they rent out for other artists here. We got to meet what was the lady earlier Sydney this afternoon. A lot of those pieces were her father's pieces.
Mother or father?
Mother's pieces
that passed away.
Just recently, like January,
right?
But you look in every little nook and cranny, and there's something very cool to look at, and just really unique pieces too. I mean, right when you drive up, the walls are filled with these fantastic murals and great
all the sculptures all around the building.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And I'm the only one with headphones on, I feel, but I got to make sure that you guys are.
That works for me, man. That works for me. You look sexy in headphones.
Thanks, man. I my wife always tells me that. That's why she said married me, is because I look great in headphones.
Looks great.
So that's the
beautiful.
deal. Yeah. So, dude, how does it feel So how you know what I mean? You sold a piece.
It feels surreal.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll say over and over again that I'm very honored to be Artist of the Month at the 1106. It is, you know, the last gallery show that I had was 6 years ago at a coffee shop, and it was a fun experience showing my art, but it wasn't the same thing as this, where I got dedicated space and really in a mecca of art.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish we could turn the camera around and walk through this place and show the audience all the amazing.
Maybe I'll do that and kind of release it in the mix.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
You know what I mean?
Because
Just coming in the door, and
you know,
and
if you're in the Twin Cities, this is an hour away.
Yeah.
For just an amazing intersection of all types of art and amazingly talented artists. It's just
From
it blows
all
me
over,
away.
yeah, from all over the place, and like I said, man, you in their gift shop, you can purchase all kinds of cool stuff. They've got a cafe connected to this place. You can have a drink, you can have some lunch, you can have some amazing chocolates. You purchase some chocolates for your lady love on the when we were here last time.
I didn't
right?
this time, sorry, Tina, but.
Your mom said that you picked up some for her as well, and she was like, "You got to try them." She kept saying, "You got to try them." So that's definitely I'm gonna come back.
Sweet Driver, that's the name of the shop here that I think that creates the chocolates. And I mean, yeah, make a trip here, if only to check out all the amazing art and to get engaged with the different types of artists, food artists, coffee artists, wood duck artists.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the list is. It's crazy. Massive.
Yeah. Lots
We
of
could spend
stuff.
all day here.
I could, and I will. the rest of the day.
I spent all,
Jason Eastman, thank you for joining us, man. I appreciate you. Horns up to you as well. We've got a fellow in the chat. Thank you for joining us. And
thanks, Jason.
yeah. So the experience has been amazing so far. Yes.
Oh my gosh, it has. I mean, we've had a good trickle of people all day, and hoping that people will stop by tonight. But at very least, it's been amazing to have a day full of art and appreciation of art. You know, maybe today is a little bit about me, but it's more about this place.
Yeah.
And about appreciating art in all of its different diverse forms.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that, you know, to have a spot like this, I wish the Twin Cities had a spot like this where you could come and you can hang and you can meet the artists and enjoy the artwork and buy, you know, like I said, there's so much different stuff here.
Yeah.
It is really a crossroads for cool things.
It is.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
And everybody's been so pleasant here, you know, so it's all around great experience. You know, I can imagine this in the summer months when it's nice and you know what I mean?
Yep.
You can, like I said, when you said there a lot of people coming and trickling in and, you know, Chris coming in and see, you know what I mean? Surprise guests dropping in and saying hello and whatnot. It's been a pleasant experience for me, and I'm not even an artist.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, I am so honored that you two made the trip to make this happen too, and partnering with you this last month to make this fly. You know, you're one of the true brothers, you know, over the last 20 years. You know, this has been amazing to partner with you to make this happen.
And this is like, for me, I always love to see my friends flourish and do well and things like that. And it's you know, you and I have talked back and forth about art and talked about, you know what I mean, different forms of it. Music, you know, you've always been a very supportive friend musically for me, and you know what I mean, inspiration art-wise, you know what I mean, working with Photoshop and doing all of this and layering of photos and really taking photos. I think you're one of the catalysts for me to actually buy a camera and get out there. And I've done so many shots of bands, and
you're very prolific.
I don't know about all of that, but I'm here.
And I don't even show any of that stuff here. This is all about the real physical art. The experience of texture and
so and speaking of that, we have a couple of the pieces that are showing today. This first one, I just, since we're kind of segueing to that
sounds good to me.
You could see this, right?
I can.
And now the people that are watching the show on YouTube, or whenever they want to watch it on YouTube, but this is the first piece that you sent me. You want to give an explanation about this one?
Yeah,
and
sorry
how
about the lighting of the piece. a lot of my pieces have a resin overcoat, so the light is sort of screwing with the piece right now. But it's called Evident Alien, and I think it was sort of one of the anchor pieces that I pulled when I was considering what this show was going to be about. I've got over 600 pieces of art, and I could go a lot of different directions with the show, and I really wanted to do something that would, I would say, stand out and be a little bit different, be a little bit strange. And you can read about the political backgrounds and all that kind of stuff in blogs that I have on my website, SereTubeStudios.com.
There you go.
Thank you. See, I've been doing this enough with you that I don't even need the cues anymore. So Evident Alien, it's on my website.
And this, I don't mean to interrupt, but this particular the show is called Alien Inside, correct?
Yep.
And now we talked about this on the last podcast, but just go over it again real quick. Like what is that whole meaning behind it?
I think it's sort of, it's multi-layered. As an artist, I think, we all sort of have this alien inside that speaks to us and pulls out the creations that we have and speaks for us when I'm an introvert. This whole process isn't necessarily easy for me either. But letting the alien speak for me almost comforts me.
Sure.
It makes it's a safe space for me. And I speak about the whole sort of double side of me and the alien side of me in my books. And if you've followed me for a while, you know I kind of leverage that to be my channel. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of artists, I'm not talking about alien Sigourney Weaver, xenomorphs, eggheads, stuff like Roswell. This isn't really about that. It's about just letting the stranger speak for you.
Right.
Now
with pieces, and I cut you off on this explanation. I apologize, but
you're fine.
Now when it comes to what would you like for the person looking at this particular piece? Like, how do you want them to feel? What do you think how do you want them to experience a piece like this?
Well, I think what I do with my art, because it's so sort of dynamic, it's got a lot of different elements to it. So this piece here glows in the dark too, and it's got a different face and experience when it's in the dark. I want people to have their own experience with it. I don't want to prescribe a direction. Mm-hmm. So, I think a lot of artists, and this is no slight to really any artist, they'll take they'll take a landscape or a photograph or a specific picture and try and represent it or replicate it. And a lot of times my art doesn't come from any space like that. Mm-hmm. I just started actually doing things called projections, where I'll take a picture and I'll project it on canvas and I'll draw without lines and I'll complete it. And, that is sort of a representation and a reflection of that image. But the majority of these pictures I did without any lines, without any drawing, without any starts, without any real concept of what it should be to begin with. It was more like a feeling and a flow.
That's hard to explain to people who have never been able to tap into that resource, that creative resource that we all have inside of us. That alien is inside of all of us. You know what I'm saying? Right. We've had this conversation to where I have experienced, jumping into that pool and you're just, going around and you're just creating things or layering things. And all of a sudden, I've shown you pieces to where you're like, dude, did you see that right there? I really appreciate that little piece to it. I'm looking at it. I didn't even see that. Like, just the layers together form something completely different. And I think that we spoke about, I asked you, well, how can you ever leave this pool? Like, how could you ever get out of this creative space? And it's a tough thing. Once you feel it, it's like, learning something new and you're having so much fun with it. And, then you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And, that flow of creating something is hard to explain to people who have never touched that.
And it like I was talking to some people that stopped by today, it's about letting that voice carry without any boundaries.
Sure.
Without any restriction or constriction. It's about letting the art flow. in whatever place and space it takes you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to talk, I hope, to some other artists today from the Eau Claire area that, you know, that are well known and are amazing artists.
Mm-hmm.
And I, you know, their flow is different than my flow.
Sure.
You know, and whatever flow works for you. I think that is what you've got to channel,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and whatever your alien inside is, whatever voice you want to carry out, that's what you should do without letting it stop you.
Sure.
Again, I'm an introvert. The whole Sere concept that I came up with was really to allow me a space to feel comfortable and productive with my art.
I think that you know, that moniker, that brand that you built, kind of frees you of your own,
Exactly.
your own bind, your own, you know, your own. You know, I can't think of it right now, but you know what I mean. Like
you know, that's the thing about any band, too.
Yeah.
Any artist that really has a challenge channeling and representing themselves outside of themselves.
Yeah.
Some people need that help. Some people need that
pen name or
right,
something.
right.
Yeah.
As a band, you're a brand.
Yeah.
You know, whether you like it or not, everything you do, from your logo to your promotions to your look to your sound to your feel,
Yeah.
you're no different than any other artist. And you know, maybe in a band you're just all collaborating with the same alien, or you
Right.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we'll move to this next piece for the folks. This thing looks like a crazy bonsai tree of some sort. You know what I mean? Like that's a very cool piece, man.
Well, thank you.
Well,
That was one of the newer ones I created this year, called the Family Tree.
It does.
Where did it come from? I don't know. I can't say. I just started painting, and that's what ended up. You know, that's what my thing is. There was no drawing.
He's
there.
actually talking about this big one right here in the back. If you guys,
sorry, that
we
one
pulled them.
big.
We pulled them, but the cameras allow us to keep on us, so we'll kind of point.
Yeah,
but
sorry. So Family Tree, what I like about it is, so my Tina and I, we redid our upstairs this last year, and we colored it. We painted it orange. This paint is the orange from upstairs, and I don't know. It just sort of includes all sort of maybe like different sort of mythical elements that impress me, and I know it impresses others.
Sure.
You know, I don't draw with concepts very often, but you know, in this case, I wanted to create an experience that was sort of odd and mythical.
It's definitely
And includes the orange from upstairs because of where it hangs in our life.
right. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You incorporated it.
Exactly. Right. And I think that's important for artists to incorporate different elements of their world into their art. For me, you know, I'm incorporating 3M dichroic. That connects back to my history with 3M, and it's a flashy film that many appreciate, and you know, it was my first piece that I sold. So
Very cool.
I think you know, it's an abstract in a way that that people can appreciate, and it stands out and it's flashy, but still makes an artistic statement.
It's tasty looking.
Yeah,
I think
so
that's very
Family
tasty
Tree is probably one of my more, I would say, accessible pieces. I do a lot of abstracts and different types of art, but that one I'm proud of because it ended up being something more than I expected.
Now, what pushes you to do something like pushes you to an abstract style? What do you think is the draw for you towards that style?
You know, I'm really about a dynamic flow. You know, sometimes I want to create art in one sitting, in one setting, without many restrictions, and I just need to express.
Now there
Abstract allows that.
Okay.
Without really worrying about whether or not I got the lines right, whether or not I got the colors right, you know, whether or not the concept is right. Because I think in an abstract, everyone can see elements that they want to appreciate. You know, like painting flowers, I don't necessarily see something in it that grabs me, you know. But in an abstract, you can see a line, or you can see a tone, or you can see an approach that you may not have experienced before. Like the integration of the 3M dichroic and some of the other, and the resins that I do, you know, that creates a whole different sort of artistic experience that very few will do or have done.
Sure.
So
Now, are there traditional styles that you like to do? Are there traditional things that you like to do, or do you stay in the abstract realm the most?
I've got some traditionals, but I think, you know, what you need to remember about me is I'm self-taught. So I kind of grew my style myself. Yeah, I have. I come from pencil drawing, and I do inking and all sorts of more mainstream stuff over the years. But when it came to starting to paint in 2010, I just wanted to get going, you know.
Right.
And it helped to just keep going through any flaws or any failures, and keep creating. And that's where I am now, you know,
now
14 years later of painting.
Now, have there been, obviously there has to have been as an artist, but you know, you see some painters may have a mistake. Do you feel like those mistakes help you grow? Do you feel like those mistakes totally change a piece?
I think it can happen both.
Yeah.
You know, both are possible.
Sure.
Most of the mistakes I make, I chalk them up as part of the piece. I don't worry so much about the flaws because other people
Part of the flow?
It's part of the flow, and other people will appreciate the flaw as the piece or part of the piece. They don't see the flaw that I see. So sometimes artists are too hard on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know how that goes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I definitely do. You get so stuck in well, you want it to be perfect,
Right?
You know?
Perfectionism.
And you want it. The tough thing I find is like, you know, doing something and then you seeing the flaws, and you see the flaw so much that you don't want to give it, you know, you don't want to put it out there to someone else. When they look at it, they're like, wow, this is absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
going, well, you know, I see this and I see that. And people a lot of times are like, don't be so hard on yourself. Just
Right.
let it flow, let it go, let it be out in the ether. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let someone experience that, you know?
I think that's probably the situation for a lot of the pieces I have here. I'm hardest on myself. So, you know, even having a gallery show, I can look at each piece and see the flaws and question why I put that out there. You're always going to question yourself,
Sure.
right? It's never perfect. No art project or product is ever perfect, you know.
Right.
And if you're aiming for perfection, then you've got the wrong target.
Right. Now, so were there any like traditional artists that you pull from? Are there artists that, as you were coming up, that you pulled from? Like, hey, I really like that style. Hey, I really want to.
Yeah, I mean, if you know my history, I grew up in Europe, so I have some very classical influences. You know, Dali, Van Gogh, stuff like that. I really appreciate the classical painters and creators. I'm a big fan of. Gosh, what's his name? I'm blanking. But
You'll come back to it.
Yeah, I'll probably come back to it. Da Vinci. I mean, as a scientific creator, you know, there's all sorts of influences that I have, but I don't think there's any that I try and emulate. You know,
Just something that you appreciate.
it's just something I appreciate.
Yeah.
I think out of all the styles, I see something that I would like to pull in, some stroke or approach that I want to try and pull in, but not as a reflection of a piece in general.
Sure.
Just a style that I want to try.
I got you there, buddy. I got you there. All right, well, we'll move to this piece here.
Why did I include that? Because I also work in collages. That is this piece right here for the audience.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
That piece I really appreciate because it was one of my first collages that I integrated my resin work with. And it's not easy to do a collage and also do this epoxy resin experience. So
now, when you put this stuff together, do things run? Were there lots of trial and error on things like this?
Oh gosh, I probably poisoned Tina, our cat, and myself through the trial runs of dealing with this epoxy resin, because it is like anything else. It's got a bucket for epoxy, it's got a bucket for hardener. You put them together, and you stay away from whatever madness is getting pulled together, because it's toxic, and it's some bad fumes and some bad stuff. But I really got driven to try and find a way to capture these pieces and coat them in a way that they couldn't be affected.
Right.
So like a collage piece is hard, because you're just gluing pieces of somebody else's book together, or magazine, or so they're very fragile, and I found it was very fun to try and create an experience that both integrates the collage and resin together, and it's kind of funky. I just appreciate.
I like it. It reminds me of a Carcass cover. You know what I mean? Like a nice heavy metal band cover.
It does.
Abstract, and
it's called Dissected Self, and I mean, I could stare at that all day and tell you different things that I see in it. But
tell me a couple.
So the two-faced person, the busted lung. I think we'll stop there, because there's other things in there that I probably shouldn't talk about.
Well, at least while your mom's not here.
At least while my mom's not in the audience.
Although she did watch our podcast, and I'm sure that we were talking silly.
Yeah, we always talk silly.
Yeah, that's just how it is. Guys do that stuff. I really appreciate this piece. Like I said, I've always liked this. I don't know, is it the since we're in Wisconsin, right? It's like the serial killer thing, right? Like this is a ransom note to me.
I like.
You know what I mean?
I like that. Yeah.
Like, hey, if you don't return or give us this money, we won't return this person that you know what I mean?
Or you've got this person back in parts.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's probably a lot less sinister than that, but
it is.
It's still very cool. Now I know that you wanted to invite a couple folks up here.
Yeah, so we've got a list of people that we want to invite to talk art and stuff.
Since your mom's in the room, you want to have your mom come up and
sure,
sit on the panel and
Mom
chit-chat?
Tina,
come on up if you want.
come on up.
We'll just have
Come
a
on
chat.
and join.
Don't be nervous. It's all good. There's nothing too serious about it, right? We're still we're having a good time.
Oh my gosh,
We're still having a fun time, right?
I think. So yeah, that's sort of the format of this. Is we're going to talk to me about my art and my approach, but we also want to get the voices of people that have supported me. Yeah, and want to talk to local artists. And
go ahead, have a seat. Either one of you guys can. I'll basically ask the questions. If you could just, when you get close to the mic when you're talking, and that's really about it. It's pretty easy. The reason I have these headphones on is so I can actually hear how close to the mic you need to be. So it's all good. I'll start with Gail. Gail is Chris's mom, Artemis's mom. Now, so was he always a creative guy when he was a little fella, or was it?
I think he started.
You want to get closer to the mic. There you go.
I think Chris started with a paintbrush when he was born. He was born with the paintbrush. So, but when he was little, he was painting all the time, even if it was just lines. He had a really good time doing artistic things. And I've saved a lot of his pictures from his childhood, so maybe I could have a show of his childhood painting.
There you go.
And why was I moved past kindergarten?
Oh, the kindergarten story is I got a call from his kindergarten teacher. He was only in school, 4 weeks. I got to the room, and there were pictures all over this kindergarten room, and I said to the teacher, wow, you must have had a good art class going. And she said, no, she said, this is all Chris' entire work. he did every single picture on the wall. And he's also helping me teach the class. And how would you feel like letting him move up to first grade so he could do more art all day long? So that's the story about kindergarten. So he skipped a grade because of his art and his personality. He was helping the teacher
Oh, that's awesome.
teach.
I don't know, for better or for worse. Maybe I should have stayed there and learned some things in kindergarten. It would have helped me in social circles these
But
days.
you couldn't have spent the day with your friend Craig then. Craig was in first grade, so they hung. But as far as his lifestyle, he's always been into creative things, writing. He went to college for English, and he's very talented in that respect.
Thank you,
I'm
Mom.
very proud of you. Your dad and I are. And I wish he was here, but your dad passed. So he's here in spirit.
Yes.
However, I think in the last years, Chris has developed this new type of art. And I think it's really shows you what kind of a personality he has and how different he can be.
Right.
So he's very unique in his artwork, and I'm very proud.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And you actually had a hand in getting him in this building, actually, right?
Well,
I mean, you guys were.
actually, yes. He came down last November for my birthday, and he said, "Mom, where would you like to go?" And I love this art gallery, and I heard they had delicious chocolate truffles. And I said, let's go to the art gallery. So we came, we had lunch, I had my pot of tea, and he said, just a minute, I'm going to go look through the gallery. Well, he sure had a good day because he met Trillium and Pat, the curator,
Yeah.
and her daughter, and they got to talking, and they actually wanted to set up him for a month, for an entire month. So they called in December and said, Chris, how about March?
That's fantastic.
And here we are
Yeah.
in March.
Yeah.
And I'm just so proud. I'm just so happy.
Yeah, and you were here
Thank you, Mom.
pretty much the whole day, and you said there were folks coming in and out pretty much all day.
Oh, sure. It was a Saturday,
Yeah.
obviously. And, well, Chris can tell you how he kind of grows on you as you start to talk to him.
Thank you, Mom.
He's very personable.
Yes, I agree.
He was voted the best artist in his senior class in high school.
Most artistic. I wanna
Or
say.
most
well,
artistic.
I shared that with Kelly Revels, I think,
Another-
for the high school people that are listening.
Yeah, what's Kelly up to now? I bet
what
she's.
are you
I'm
up
just kidding.
to?
Right?
But, he had to share the award with a girl.
Well, it
So-
was every award was boy girl. It wasn't about choosing a gender.
Sure.
They had,
And you're all
most
very
popular
talented.
boy girl.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Most artistic, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he had already developed that, like I said, when we were in Germany and Belgium. We were in Germany for 4 years and Belgium for 2 with the Department of Defense. My husband was an auditor, and I was a Department of Defense school teacher. And so we did do a lot of field trips
Yeah.
and castles and everything on weekends. And so we covered a lot of art. And
Yeah.
I'm sure it really helped his development in this respect. So
Oh yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I love you. I'm
Well, I
proud
love
of you.
too. Thank you. Thank you. We have a lot of artists in the family tree, too. One of my second cousins, we'll call them second cousins, was here today. That line has created so much art. I want to create a book specifically geared toward the art that they've created. Was it Uncle Lou?
Uncle Lou.
I own watercolors of his that are 50, 60 years old that
Wow.
are just amazing pieces of art that are irreplaceable and inspire me,
Yeah, for sure.
they're not like my art, but they are, you can see.
But like any of the artists that you
Right.
have liked through your entire life, you know what I mean? You see
Yep.
stuff, especially when it comes from your own family, you know what I mean? It's like you feel like, man, this is in my blood. This is
Right,
it's
right.
like it skipped through.
Validated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
almost,
yeah,
like,
yeah, right.
I can do this because everybody
Yeah,
else can
yeah.
in my family.
yeah.
But they're different styles of art, and someday I hope to create a book like the ones I have that really showcase the art of the rest of my bloodlines. And
Very cool idea.
We'll,
Very cool
we'll
idea.
get there someday, and I'll share that stuff when I have an opportunity to in the future. But today is about my art
Yep.
and my support, my support people, and the audience that has supported me throughout this process of developing my art over the last 10, 14, 17 years. Yeah, it's been a road.
Yeah.
And your kitty cat helps.
My kitty and Tina.
Tina. Oh, Tina, yeah.
She's not my kitty cat.
Now, Tina, if you want to pull the mic towards you, so how is it to be?
Living with an artist?
Yes, living with an artist, and I know that it can be challenging, and I know that it can be, it's got to be a different experience, right? I mean,
It is. It is for sure. I loved his art from the first time I seen it, and it's like all throughout our house. I can just look at the pictures and just be amazed, and
You're kind of spoiled.
I am spoiled, totally spoiled. And I like for him to like change them sometimes, just on mood or seasons, and it's just great to have him do what he does.
And people probably don't know that Tina and I met on Facebook. We met via her interest in my art.
Yes.
She saw it on Facebook. She's from North Carolina. She moved to the Twin Cities to be with me.
Yes.
But it originally started with my art.
Oh, that's
by
fantastic.
Seeing my art on Facebook and being a fan of it. And it grew from there. And now it's all over your world.
That is true.
no, just kidding. You always got to throw a in there just because it's
That's right.
life is life. I mean, is it so? Having this much art in your life, have you tried to jump in on the paintings? Have you given them any color inspirations or any type of? Have you ever done anything in this type of color? How come you always do these particular? You ever do any of that stuff? Because I would.
Yes,
I'd be
I have.
I'd be like, come on, man! Everything is so green right now.
Yes,
you know?
I have. I've actually mentioned doing some different colors and some different techniques of art, and he normally does. He will try different things, and
I think that's a very special dynamic between a partner. You know what I mean? Because just by the story, you enjoying his art and what he puts out there, just as a creative human being, and coming up here and being together and being partners, and I think people don't understand how much our partners inspire us, on a daily basis. Where you work with flowers a lot, right? You work for a florist. You do these things. You see all this beauty in your life as well. You know what I mean? And with the art. Now, the one that we showed before, and I'll actually go back to this picture, because it is in your house. This orange, the one with the orange that matches your upstairs.
Yeah.
So now would that be one that you suggested a specific color? Or did you guys like agree on the color of the upstairs before you started painting it? Yeah.
yes, we did.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's not a lot, but it's inspiration. You know what I mean?
No,
It's like
Tina helps me, I think, see things differently. She helps me look past maybe what I'm stuck with.
sure.
Where I don't continue the same repetition of art. She'll criticize me on a wall that maybe we've had up for too long and
Sure.
we need new art. And hey, that's all good with me because sometimes it inspires me to create some great stuff.
Yeah. Now have
She's had
you
a lot of patience again with my artistic process and learning. Well, we have a part of our basement dedicated to my art shop and my easel and my art supplies.
Sure.
So I mean that's a big commitment too. When you're sharing space with a partner and you're taking more space than you really should have.
Right. Right.
She has a lot of patience with my process, my stuff.
Right.
Well,
I was trying to tell you
my amount of art that I have. I mean, I've got 600 pieces of art. You know how much space
I do.
that takes up?
I do, and we were talking about that on the way here to check out the place. I was like, you have to start putting your pieces on the outside of your house,
Right.
just to show them off
legit.
to the neighborhood, you know, and like, too bad you can't like, shrink wrap your house. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it really is true. And, it's become a little bit of a problem, too, because now I have so much art and it take up so much space. It almost feels like I should do less art.
Right.
Because so much space is being taken up. And, I keep giving her props for her patience and support of what I do, because
I think
this
that
isn't
goes
a train that I want to stop.
a lot of times that goes unnoticed too. You know what I mean? Like we're when we're in their creative process, we don't actually stop and say thank you so much for allowing me to be in this creative zone, because I know that it's like, hey man, things are getting tight in here. You know what I mean? And just the inspiration and continue to like push you forward. If you're hit a speed bump and you're not working, or you're not doing this or not doing that, and our partners are there to help us up and keep us inspired and keep us going, and feed us every once in a while when we're like, oh, got a paintbrush stuck to our face or something, you know what I mean? That type of thing.
And I've tried to kind of inspire her to find her own voice and her own art.
Right.
And she has tried painting and got a few of her own pieces, and that's kind of just the start.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, is that something that when you're with them, have you wanted to get into the art process? Have you wanted to paint? Is this something that you've done before?
I've never painted before, but he does inspire me to try and do it. And I did do a piece about a year ago, and it was okay compared to his.
Well, see, that's the thing that would be hard for me, is because you would compare,
Right.
all of the amazing pieces around you. You're like, well, that's not to this caliber. Where it's like you get kind of intimidated by it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
gosh, but that's the story of this place right here.
right.
I mean, there is so much amazing art here.
Mhm.
Like, I feel intimidated.
Right.
Like, how did I get Artist of the Month in this amazing space?
Right.
That I will continue to think.
Because of what your
Really,
mom said.
Yeah.
That's what
I'm
it is.
crazy?
It's because you're a personable human being, and that you emulate goodness. I say that as a friend, and a longtime friend. You know what I mean? Like, when you genuinely care, when you're having a conversation with Artemis, with Chris, you know that you're right there. I know that you're right there with me.
Thank you.
And that's, when you meet somebody new and you're like, hey man, this is what I do and I really enjoy it. And, you're putting yourself out there. You're not like, you're promoting all these things from 3M to all, the work that you did with the Lux and all of that stuff, right? That's what you do for a living.
Right.
But when you do it for yourself, there's something that comes off more. And I would say that would go back to Gail's story about how you're just a very personable human being,
thank
and a good dude. You know what I mean? I felt that from the very beginning when we met with Sound and Fury years ago, right?
Back.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
And we've stayed in contact throughout all these years. I
And
mean,
inspired each other.
from the art to the podcast to where I'd been off for months and months at a time, and you're like, hey man, I really want to do this. We've done this before. Are you down? You want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, because the right person reached out to give me the boost, and it was Jordan most of the time, because Jordan was the co-host that was like, hey man, come on, let's go. Let's do this again. Let's get these people into the studio. Let's do this. But like I said, man, we've inspired each other a million times over, and I just appreciate our friendship in general. You know what I'm saying? So I would say when you come through here and you meet someone new and you put, especially when it comes to art, you put it off so well, you know what I mean? And
Thank you.
that's why you're in with this, because you are the caliber of every artist in this whole place. I feel
Thank
like
you.
I
That
feel
is a tall honor, and I don't know about that, but I'll take it. I'll take it because I'm here and my art's here, and it's going to be here through the rest of the month. So, if you're listening in the audience, you still have an opportunity to get down to Eau Claire, the 1106 Mondovi Road, Artisan Forge, the 1106, and you can check out the rest of my my gallery that is up through the rest of March.
Come on through, please.
Yeah.
We've got, let me see here, Niku. Hello, my first time here. I came from Brazil, but I speak a little English. Wanted to know any tips or inspirations for composing music. Also, what are your opinions on artists who use virtual instruments. Is that what it says? I can't really see right there. Yeah, virtual instruments. Oh, now, how do you feel about that? Because I know you love EDM. You love that style of music. I'm a big fan as well. I am not opposed to any type of music, honestly, if it's good. I love anything from, I like old country. That's as far as I go. I don't really go into the newer country type stuff. I like R&B. I like classical. I like all types of music. I like EDM. I like rap. I like heavy metal. Obviously, I'm wearing a Skeletal Remains shirt to an art gallery. I was like looking at all my stuff. I'm like, yeah, death metal today. Yep, that's what I'm doing. So to be honest with you, and we appreciate you joining us during the podcast. Thank you very much. As far as composing and inspiration in music, honestly, it is from the world around me, period. I mean, that's where I take it from. And I know you have, and I was going to mention this before, you have a playlist for this art show as well, right? And where can they find that actually?
It's on YouTube. Artemis Sere obviously is my pseudonym. You can find all sorts of social handles if you just search for that. So I have an Artemis Sere YouTube channel. I have new videos from concerts and all sorts of stuff that I add there on a regular basis. But I also have a playlist dedicated to Alien Side and the music that inspired me.
And then on the Ceretix Studios, you have your best of for the years too, right?
Yep. So every year I do a best of the year music list, top 20, and I've been doing that for 14 years now. So they're all listed there if you're interested and want some inspiration around what kind of music I find inspiring and would listen to. I don't compose music. If we're talking virtual or going into the direction of AI, that I'm not a fan.
Yeah. We spoke about this.
If we're gonna
over
get
and
in,
over again.
Yeah. I don't know if we hit AI in our last podcast, but
I think we brushed over.
We don't want to spend a whole lot of time. No. Let's just say that I won't support AI as an artist in any way. Music,
I agree.
Digital art, however it is, I'm not supporting it.
Gotcha.
That's my stand.
I feel you on that one. I feel you.
We are hardworking artists. We put our pen and our brushes to the papers and canvas, and that's where it should be.
Where can I find the link for the YouTube channel? Just look up Artemis Sere, correct?
Yep.
On YouTube?
Yep.
And that'll have.
I'm even YouTube/user/Artemis Sere as one word.
Or Ceretix Studios, correct? I actually believe I can scroll on the bottom right there.
There you go. Look at that. That's my website. If you put Artemis Sere together as one word, that would be the username, I think, for the YouTube channel.
Awesome. And that's how you do it. And Niku, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it very much for jumping on. We'll be doing some more of these real soon too. So I appreciate it. Yeah. We've got a couple different
subscribe
things.
To the channel.
Yes, please do subscribe to the channel. We love it. I think I have a couple hundred podcasts up there. I actually just took down all of my audio podcasts. That's 288, I think, is today's podcast.
Yep.
So that's quite a few podcasts, but I pulled it back and I want to do video. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. Well, we had lots of. We've been doing this since I think 2012, so we've had lots of opportunities to do podcasts, and some of those were choice, beautiful podcasts.
Oh yeah.
In voice only, but the video is pretty fun. So, I know people love seeing your sexy face.
Yeah, my big head. Okay, let me see here. What Nico says, I think that AI will never replace human beings in art because it always something unique when it's made by humans. The human mind acting in terms of art really impresses him. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I sure hope so. I honestly hope so. I don't think that it's starting to disappoint me that I see bands using AI to do their covers and everything like that, which is
hey, I've got 600 pieces of art that I would happy to collaborate with any musician on their cover. I don't even charge a whole lot. I just want to have my brand out there. So screw AI.
There you go.
You got real artists with real content that are standing by ready to help you.
Yes,
just
for
ask.
sure. Yep. Yeah. So what was our next, where were we headed next?
I think we're going to talk to Trillium.
Trillium, come on up here.
All right, Mom.
Thank you very
Tina,
much.
Thank you.
Young ladies, thank you very much.
For having us. Thank you.
And let me see. I appreciate that. That was awesome. The love right there from your lovely ladies. That's fantastic, man. Very cool for them to join us and jump in on a thing. The only thing I ask is just get real close to the mic when you talk, and you're all good.
Yeah, my husband and I do online streaming on Twitch. So
Oh, nice. So you're hip with it. Very cool. Awesome. Very good. Very good. That's one thing I haven't tapped into is Twitch. That's one of the.
Me neither.
I like it. You know, it's a cool platform. What do you guys do on that
we
platform?
do video game.
Oh, nice. What kind of video games do you normally do?
A little bit of everything.
Really? That's
I
fantastic.
mean, we've played, Mario games. We've played weird games off stream where I tap a mayonnaise glass for 2 hours.
That's fantastic.
Do you want to share any handles?
Well, the one we go on.
Just
Twitch-
get right into the mic if you want to lean in.
The one on Twitch is Crab Daddy Long Legs, just all one word.
Okay.
And we try to stream every night, but
There you go.
What's your usual time frame that you guys
7 Central.
7 Central? Okay. You usually go for a couple hours or what?
We usually go for about an hour. The most we've gone is 11 and a half.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I'm never doing that again.
What did we do, Jordan, in the old days? Was it 6 or 7 hours or something? That second one might have been 10, actually. We sat there with Chad from American Head Charge for a good long while. That was like a 4-parter or something ridiculous, just enjoying the company of a famous musician. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what's going on, man? I haven't seen you in a long time. It just went on great. So tell me, how did you get involved with this place? And
Well, for starters, my mom
yeah,
has been in this building for about 7 years now, almost.
sure. Just will you turn towards the mic a little bit?
Sorry.
There you go.
And after she's been in the building for about 7 years, she took some of my stuff, my product, which I make skincare.
Okay.
So like lotions, soaps,
Right.
all that fun stuff. And it sold well in here, and eventually I moved my own stuff into my own studio.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of just dominoed into me becoming the curator of the building.
Yeah. So how many years have you been here?
I've been here too.
2 years? Now, how long has this building actually been here?
The building, I don't know, but it's
But it was an auto.
yeah. Before this artist community,
Right.
it was an auto dealership.
Okay.
So
I could see that. It's a big parking lot.
definitely with the garages. And all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot that. That's on the one side of the building over here, right?
There's lots of garages.
Yeah.
Yep.
Each one has its own mural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lots
that's
of cool.
another thing to come and visit here
Yeah,
is the
there's so much
murals
cool
and the
stuff.
welding art that is outside. It's just, gosh, it's beautiful.
Phenomenal.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. So now was the skincare stuff that got you in here. Now your mom was here and she was doing. She does art in
Yes,
the building as
she
well.
does colored pencil work.
Okay. Just like large pieces, or
Usually big pieces, yeah.
and she just goes.
Yeah, it takes like 3 weeks for one picture.
Now, has your mom always been an artist, like
Yes.
since you were a kid?
Oh yes.
So if you picked up the color crayon, she was like, yes, let's do it.
Well, we did do coloring a lot when I was younger, but
That's
I don't
awesome.
think she cheered on me on that.
I would.
intently.
That would have been me, man. I would
go,
have been
Trilly.
like, let's do it. Yeah. Let me see here. So what? Now how did you meet your husband and like? Were you guys gaming? I always think that is the coolest thing ever when your partners are like, "What are you doing tonight? I'm gonna play some games. What, you down? Yeah, let's do it. 2-player, or are we gonna just switch out? You died. Give me that controller. That type of thing, you know."
Well, we originally met on a dating website.
Okay.
I was living in the Twin Cities at the time, and he was living in Louisiana. He made more money than I did, so I lost. And I had to move down there with him. And we spent a couple years down there, and then he got tired of his job and he wanted to quit, so we came back up here. And that's that.
Now, do your folks live in the Eau Claire area?
Yes.
So you were which part of the Twin Cities were you in?
Minneapolis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
My dad lives in the Twin Cities.
oh, gotcha.
And he works at
Ground Zero.
Oh, that's awesome.
he's the ticket guy at Ground Zero.
The right in
Guy behind the booth.
That's awesome. I was there
about that for a
actually
connection?
the night it opened. I was at the opening of Ground Zero. And I worked there for I want to say about a year and a half on and off, just doing shows. There was a production company, promotion company doing stuff in that building, so we were constantly at Ground Zero. That's really cool. You've all over the place.
Yeah, right.
man. That's-
Her dad's roommate is a musician named Endif.
Oh, nice. What
Industrial.
Industrial stuff.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool. It's on the Alien Inside playlist if you're interested in checking it out.
Very cool. Now, can people get your skincare stuff? Or do you have a site for it, or do they
Yeah.
just come
They can
here?
do either way.
Okay.
My I call it Skinfully Decadent.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to play on the word sinful,
Yep.
Very good.
but so.
How did you get into doing skincare?
Well, when I was a teenager, I worked at McDonald's.
Okay.
And washing your hands every hour on the hour in water that was so hot you could see the steam against a white wall
Sure.
gave me skin condition.
Right.
And everything I tried was either so heavily loaded with steroids and medicine that I was like afraid to touch anything in
Right.
the house.
Right.
Because I was like, my dog's gonna lick the door handle, or I'm gonna pick up a piece of food and eat, or
Right.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to do that. And then on top of all that, when you go off of steroids,
Mm-hmm.
you have like a withdrawal, and you're like, your skin becomes dependent on it. So I was like, I don't want to do that. And then everything else I tried just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to my dermatologist, and they gave me a couple ingredients to lean towards, and
Then you started doing
I started
it. on your
doing
own?
it.
Really?
Cool.
Now, were you like, did you start with like lotions?
I started with
soaps?
body butter.
Okay.
Yeah. Body butter and lip balm.
Okay.
Is what I started with. And then I made sugar scrubs, which are my personal favorite.
Right.
Soap bars, hand sanitizer, shower steamers, a bit of everything, really.
Wow. That's a whole lot, man. My
And I even
my
have-
daughter would absolutely
I even
love
have
that.
scents for guys.
Woo! Do you have beard oils or anything like that?
You could probably use the body butter as a beard oil.
That's probably gonna have to happen. I like to
scraggly.
I like to take care of my beard. I just started to really a lot lately. I don't know why. It's old and gray and brittle. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta keep it moisturized. But yeah, that's fantastic. So where can they get your stuff from?
Skinfullydecadent.com.
Okay, and they can come here
They
in
can
the
come in the building, yep. And I have it in store here.
and you're in the gift shop.
I'm in the gift shop almost every day.
Nice. And there's all kinds of stuff in there. What
there's tons of
else
stuff.
do you have in there that
I
you?
have T-shirts, mugs, greeting cards, charcuterie boards, puzzles. I mean, I could.
And these are all from local artists.
Yes, I have over 40 artists that are represented in my gift shop, and they're either in Wisconsin or the surrounding tri-state area of Minnesota, Chicago, or Illinois, or Michigan.
That's fantastic. Hell yeah,
That's beautiful.
That's really cool. I love that you guys support so many different things. It's like the best thing ever. Art in every form in this one building. That's why I say if you've never been here, you have to come here and check it out. It's so worth it. I just walking in the door, I'm like, yes, this place is so cool, so inspiring.
Yeah, I mean that was the first impression that I got. You know, when my mom brought me here for that lunch you mentioned, and meeting Trilly for the first time. You know, I didn't expect all of this or any of this. I was just looking for the ability to have a pop-up or share my art, and blown away and completely honored by
Now
that.
does that happen a lot? The artists will come in and just start picking at you like, hey, can I do this? Can
Sometimes, not very often, but
now you do consignment, obviously.
I
You
do
sell
consignment
things.
in the gift shop. Yes.
Okay. And how does if an artist wants to just come in and show you their stuff?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have to bring in like a portfolio, or just bring in a bunch of stuff
I've
you want to
had
get rid of?
people show me pictures on their phones,
That's it.
and that's it.
Wow. And was that pretty much what happened with you guys when you
Well,
talked? And
Well, we talked in November. I don't think there was much of an
Yeah.
exchange. I didn't really show you
Yeah.
anything until we got to talking about it more deeply in January. And then I already have books, so I just sent what I had and overwhelmed her by all the art that I
There was a
have
lot.
possible, and then came up with the concept of how to narrow it down to a story and the alien inside concept.
yeah, 600 pieces. That'd be, hey, I'm going to take this, that. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that you didn't jump around a little bit more, which I like the concept. I totally do. But with all of the stuff that I've seen you do, I feel like you could have jumped around a whole bunch more.
I wanted to do something more on concept. I mean, my previous gallery shows were sort of scattered based on what I'd created at the time.
Sure.
And given that I have so much stuff now, I wanted to be more kind of mindful of telling a specific story and style.
That's how it works, man. I love it.
But that gives me an opportunity, as we talked about, me to come back next year and have a different sort of approach and style. Maybe
Is that a plan?
I mean,
It's in the
I've been
works.
invited,
It's in the works, at least.
but we'll see. I think it's more about like the building and stuff like that.
Is now why is there a change in name? Is there actual change in name
Yes.
or okay?
Yes,
Okay.
there
So
is.
how did that all come to be?
Oh, I think the current owners are just on a vacation, I guess.
Gotcha.
so to speak.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they're trying to sell the building, but obviously keep it the way it is.
Yeah.
And continue an art conglomerate and community and all that.
That's a really cool.
Please support this art conglomerate.
I hope
you
so.
Millionaires out there.
I hope so. I hope that someone comes along and says, "Yes, I will do that," and
Yes.
I'll put mine in the corner somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, here's a couple of the things that I like to paint.
Totally.
Watercolor.
We have watercolors.
Yeah.
I love it. Everything around me is just. I just want to cover myself in color.
Totally. I mean, what kind of materials do you have? I mean, what kind
Oh,
of
goodness.
artists do you have here? There's just a
Well,
huge
we
list of
have
different-
a husband and wife team that paint on the canvas
Which-
together
We're gonna talk to soon.
Yes,
at the same time.
that's pretty awesome.
And they use oils. My mom's stuff, which is that lovely lady back there, all colored pencil. We have acrylic, resin.
Wood ducks.
Ducks made out of golf clubs.
Yeah, that's what I noticed that. And like, what was it? Wood duck wine stoppers and things like that for corks for the
Yeah.
bottles and stuff.
And what did Renee create?
Oh yeah, she makes she prints stuff on shirts. She has a guillotine one, which is my favorite.
Right.
Party like it's 1789.
That's awesome.
I love it. And she also does clay work. So there's little anatomically correct hearts that I have in jewelry.
Oh, those are cool.
So she creates
So those-
jewelry.
yeah.
And I mean, isn't there like even in the offices here like coffee vendors? And
Oh yeah, there's a coffee roaster that roasts coffee here.
Nice.
We have a jeweler, a tattoo shop, hair salon.
There's a tattoo shop in here too.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I could go get tattooed right now if I
There's
wanted to.
two of them,
How late are they open? Are you serious?
I don't
right
know.
now?
You can probably walk down the hall and find out.
Oh man, you're gonna be.
the
waiting,
building looks
bruh.
like it's been tattooed. That's how cool it is.
That is pretty darn cool. I mean, when a building looks like it's tattooed, that's pretty fantastic,
Yeah.
if you ask me. Come check it out for sure. What's the address here? Oh, it's 1106 Mondovi
Road.
1106.
in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Come get some cheese.
And what kind of hours do you have?
Our hours are Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 5, sorry. And Saturdays 10 to 4. But we're going late night tonight for Artemis.
Ooh, yeah.
Party into the
Thank
late
you.
night hours.
Gotta love it. Thank you very much for allowing us to do this here
no problem.
and bringing my friend in here to show off his fantastic art.
you.
Appreciate it very much. Yeah. So your mom is in the.
She's around here somewhere.
You want to
Yeah.
come
Bring
up as well?
All right.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
It's your call.
Totally.
You can
I
hang around
mean,
if you want.
you both can hang
can
if you
both
want.
All right.
and-
Why not?
Yeah.
I'll stay here.
And then next we'll have.
Yep.
All right,
Awesome.
cool.
Awesome. Hi, Pat. How are you?
I am good, thanks.
Can we see?
Thank you. Yes. What you want to move in, I believe. Yep. Keep moving this way.
moving.
Yep. This way. And we'll get
Okay, all
you.
good.
Trilly, move over a little bit. Towards us.
Towards me.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And you can come in a little bit more, Pat, if you want. Sorry,
We're
make sure
organizing.
everybody gets in on the action here.
There we go. Beautiful.
Now, how long have you been coloring with your color pencils? I want to know, because if I with my kids, when they wanted to do something creative, I was like, let's go. Mom's not going to make me shovel the walk or what. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
I think my whole art career started when I was very young. I came from a family of 8 children,
Sure.
and we were on welfare. There was not a lot of activities that we had money to do.
Sure.
Like a box of crayons and a piece of paper.
By the end, with 8 kids are probably like this big, you play with little
The
nubs.
dream was always the 64 box with a sharpener.
Oh, yeah.
But coloring was an easy thing for us to be doing.
Right.
And my mother would color with us, and she had a wonderful swirly kind of style. And I tried, to emulate that in some ways, but I did enjoy coloring at that time. Later, when I went into college, I have art as my minor, and I took elementary ed and art teaching is my career. So my working career was an elementary teacher.
Oh, that's awesome.
So.
Get to get creative with their minds. You were able to
Well, I
tap
was
into
a
their.
6th grade English teacher for the most part.
Still though,
Right,
Still.
but you always use art in school, so there was no loss of that. Yes, don't tell him that story. Should I tell the story?
Yes.
My
If you've
favorite
got time,
story.
I'll tell
Yes,
you.
always.
Okay, so it's just an embarrassing element of how art fit into my story. But I was teaching at a parochial school. I won't use the name right now, but every year in the spring, the classes would compete against each other to raise money for the missions to help, impoverished children. And that was an important thing to me because I lived that lifestyle in some regard. So I was very interested in my kids really earning the money, and they would get a pizza party if they would win. So we talked as a class as to how we're going to raise the money, and we decided on doing a little thrift sale. So all the kids brought their, toys and things that they wanted to sell, used things. And I, as their teacher, had to bring something, so I brought in some watercolor paintings of people skiing and barns and cows and wonderful little watercolors. And they were all matted and framed, and they sold like hotcakes. Everybody bought them. And that was pretty good. And our class, because of that, ended up earning enough to win the pizza party.
That's awesome.
So we were very excited. Well, that's just the beginning of the story. Well, the next day I got hauled into the priest's office, and the principal and the sister were staring down at me from the opposite end of the table, quite concerned. And apparently what had happened was the next day on the playground, the children had taken those drawings and passed them around the playground. And in doing so, they took them apart. And as an artist, I had forgotten that I had tucked underneath the picture all of my life drawing images. So nude models, pictures.
So 3rd grade kids have nude sketches, and they traded them on the playground like Pokemon cards.
And my name was boldly signed on all of them. So I was super close to
Were they
losing my
were they
job,
holding the
but,
ruler like, put your hands out?
yeah, that was a hard.
Amazed they didn't fire you.
Yeah, I know, it was pretty funny, but anyway, I live to tell about that.
Wow, that's a heck of a
It's my
story.
favorite
Wow,
story.
That's awesome. And that's what daughters do to their mothers. They're like, you got to tell them that one story. That's amazing. That's pretty great.
Yeah,
That's
anyway.
pretty great.
So as I continued my teaching career, teaching through 33 years in the district, but then I had a back surgery that was pretty.
I just have to say
intense.
thank you very much, because that is amazing. And being part of this means that you're a very creative person, and I'm sure that you've passed that creativity to the children, and some of them probably grew into positive human beings.
Yep,
and I don't think
damage.
I don't think that teachers get enough thanks. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
But middle school, to me, I loved it. I mean, the sassy funness when children are just getting that edge of understanding,
Yeah.
humor. It was a great time to teach. I
Yeah.
love that age level. Anyway, then when I left the teaching early because of a back surgery, and I still felt I had a lot of energy and creativity in me, so I picked up more of my art that I had just been doing on the sly for family and friends, but then I just became intense, like this is what I'm going to do with my day. So there's purpose to the day. And then I found this space, and it's about going on 7 years this fall, because I came in September, I believe. And just loved it, fell in love with the community of people who are a part of this here. What most people don't realize is that it's an incubation kind of space. So people come and go, and that is part of the flow of the space.
Sure.
And to me, that's been very exciting, because I've seen painters and people who play harp and people who build, guitars, and people who,
Right.
Paint and do all these different things. And I gain what I can from the chance I get to encounter with them.
Right.
And my own work, I think, is inspired by that in some small way.
Yeah.
And so just to be around creative, like-minded people, and in all forms, and
Yeah.
just really appreciating people.
Oh, yeah.
And the art that they have, and the diversity of the art is what's really exciting.
Right.
So like Artemis's pieces coming in with a lot of the flow art and, experimental kind of approach to the work that he does. It's really intriguing to me.
Right.
And, I've been here 7 years, and I've seen lots of art come and go.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like about Artemis's work, number one, besides just the organization of it, which is mind-blowing, how he's put together the show and displayed it so professionally, but just the experimentation from piece to piece. And because I've done a lot of experimenting in the course of my art, as an artist, I can see that, where sometimes other people can't see that. And so that's what's fun for me, is when people come and I get to talk to them about the art that I'm looking at, and I can say, I'm sure that he did this in a layered approach. There's, probably 7 layers in this little section right here that I
Right.
can see.
Yeah.
There's your base, and then there's a color, and then there's a little texture, and then there's a little something of string, and all of those things are building up.
Yeah.
And the edges that it's making, and the shapes that it creates, and where's the light coming from, and is there an element that he added that gives you the eye of the alien, or
Right.
what little piece in there that you find.
Yeah.
Because especially for the average person, abstract art is very hard for them to approach.
Right.
Because it's so open-ended, they don't know where to begin.
Right.
They don't know what to look at or how to appreciate it as
Right.
much as they can.
The first time that we were here, there's a piece in, I think, right between the cafe, I believe. It's a really big piece. It's probably the size of that, but it has a lot of different colors. I was telling Artemis, I could only take it in sections. Like, I was looking at it, and it was like 8 by 10, 8 by 10, 8 by 10
Yeah.
in sections, and then step back and go, how do all these little pieces that I see connect to make a full sized piece? You know what I mean? And I come from music. So with me, I'm a vocalist. So I'm listening to these guys around me put their little piece into this, like a picture, like you just explained, the layers to it. And it always boggled my mind. And Artemis actually opened my mind up more to art. You know what I mean? To where you can see those layers. When I came in to look at his pieces, now some of these I've never seen before, but when I looked at it, I was looking at from the side and looking at the side of the canvas just to see the ripples along it. You know what I mean? And to pick up the little nuances in there too. And I honestly, just by your explanation, reminds me of music. All of that the layers of the creativity and all of it.
Right. I had a conversation with a musician just the other day, and she was saying, I'm glad the jam is over. I just need to settle my mind and put that music aside and do something different. And she goes, it's so tiring to be a musician. And I said, you try being an artist, because you can turn your music off, but the artist never turns their eyes off.
Right.
Every single thing becomes their art.
Right.
The lines and the curves of the chording right here, you
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
You see the depth of perspective as it goes away. And I try to think, how would I draw that to show it's going deep into the image? We don't shut it off, so that's why we're tired.
Yeah, right?
I love that approach. I love that description of what we do.
I see that
Never
I see
turn
that
your
in
eyes off.
photography
I
a
love
ton. You know what I mean? Like, I try to layer. I love to see the layers. You know what I mean? Like the depth of a photo. They always focus on the eyes, but I'm always all around the whole photo, just seeing how it's all framed in one shot. You know what I mean? I love that. I love it.
Another thing that I like about Artemis's work that I've picked up in looking at it is that he's extremely experimental in what he's doing, and it doesn't look like he's in any way trying to emulate or copy somebody else's style.
Right.
So when you're an artist, that's people always think, oh, I should learn how to do it correctly. I need to learn how did I shade this. Well, you learn it by doing it. Don't try to be like anybody else.
That is exactly.
So, yeah,
mean-
because if I was trying to come to a class of yours and I would learn to paint like you, when your picture would be, or my picture that I did in your style would be hanging on my wall, someone would say, oh, I love that Artemis piece. And I'd be like, oh, I did it. But no, I just.
Well, the thing is,
I didn't do
I've never
it,
been
you
to a
know?
painting class, and I don't know that I will, because I sort of like the purity of the experimentation
Yeah.
that I
Well,
try.
it's owning what you bring to it.
Yeah.
And not trying to, feel badly that you can't do it as well as someone.
Right.
There shouldn't be comparativeness in art.
Yeah.
No,
Our own
it
spirit
is.
has to be there.
Exactly.
That's
no
what
wrong
I was
answer.
I was saying when Tina was here talking about, it would be difficult for me to not do the same thing that she did when you're looking at all this magnificent art, to go, oh, mine's not that great, but you're starting here compared to where he is here, and there's so many nuances in art where you can fit right in that little niche somewhere in there. You know what I mean? You're just like, this one, I take this from you. You know what I mean? You have
I think
every
that's
what
what happens is
Yeah.
I learn strokes from looking at pictures and,
Yeah.
and maybe watching artists, and then maybe you collaborate them into what you're doing, but it never becomes a copy of somebody.
Right.
It becomes, an ability.
Yeah. I agree.
That is wrapped into who you are and the style that you have.
Sure. Yeah. That's fantastic, man. I love it. Absolutely love it. So I'm now 7 years you've been here, and you've seen a lot of people come and go. Now, did you start in one of the small rooms?
I did. I started by the window in probably a 4 foot by 4 foot little square that was just big enough for my easel and a few crayons and pencils.
Right.
And then, like it said, this place is an incubation space. So as people come and go and someone leaves a good space, it's like dominoes where we all try to jockey for position to get the best spot. And then people move and redecorate, and the next person moves in. And, that's the fun of it. So I'm in my third location now as
right.
in here. But I
Nice.
don't have any intention of leaving because I love the community of it.
Right. Well, I hope that if someone does buy this space, that they keep this exactly the way it is, because there should be outposts like this all over in every city. I think you know what I mean. I think there's some small spaces similar, right, in Northeast and stuff. They have that, like where they do the art. I know the Schmidt Brewery, that whole apartment, like you have to be an artist to move into those apartments, and they have this metal stuff on the walls all in this apartment. My buddy was living in this apartment complex, and they have showings, and everybody will put their art on the outside of their apartment, and they'll, you know what I mean, like they'll swap pieces, you know what I mean? Like I was getting pieces just showing up. I was like, hey man, I really like that. Here, take it with you. You know what I mean? That type of thing. But I think they should have more spots like this.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And, to be able to meet other artists and to, I just think that creativity in one spot. It's
Right.
like
Well, and we're trying to build it not just in this building, but in the hub of Eau Claire as
Right.
a spot for artists. So Two Roots down on Barstow, Banbury Place, and all the other different spaces that there are in town that offer art fly. The university has their galleries. There's so much here that we just want everybody to know.
Oh
about.
yeah, heck yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. This is a fantastic spot. I'm glad I'm here. Thank you for bringing my friend and showing him some love. Appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. It's great. Thank you.
We're glad to have him.
Thank you, you two. Okay. Well, that was Trillium and Pat. Maybe we can move to Kevin and Wendy now. All right. Well, we'll just chat a little bit until they show up.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Jeff is after. I didn't know if they had a timeline we had to hit.
If they wanted to do
They're
it
here.
and chat.
We got Jeff coming up next.
Okay. Good.
Because I love that piece that you brought, Jeff. I want to talk more about it.
It's very cool, dude.
So coming up, we've got two local artists that. Oh,
Awesome.
wow.
Fantastic. Oh, awesome.
Right on.
Well, sorry to block it. We're just trying to. Thank you very much.
We appreciate
Come on,
that.
Have a seat.
Please come have a seat. We'll give you both a mic.
You can use that one too, Artemis, if you want to chat with that. I'll turn that one on as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Groovy.
As
All
long
right.
as you're
So now we've got Wendy and Kevin Schaefer Miles.
Schaefer Miles.
All right.
Awesome. Well,
They are,
welcome. Very
A duo of painters that paint together.
Yes,
Weird.
we are.
Introduce
Very
us to this
strange.
fellow.
My name's Greg, and I run Ritual Madness podcast with my co-host Jordan over here.
Hi, Jordan.
We've been doing a podcast since 2012. We primarily work with bands and things like that, and the heavy metal scene in Minneapolis and the Twin Cities. But we're very creative guys. We're photographers. We're artists. We're all of the things that we can be creatively. So we met Artemis. I met Artemis years and years ago. I want to say 99, 2000, 2001, something like that. He was working with a band that I cameoed with quite a bit on in Minneapolis on a bunch of different stages. And he was seeing a friend of mine, and we just became friends through that and through art, really. He was doing a lot of photography stuff where he was taking photos and putting them to canvas and painting over those. And I thought it was just an amazing idea. Like, I had never seen that before. I'm pretty sheltered when it came to traditional art or anything like that. But I really love the layers. I love art, and he's really opened my mind to things like that. We've done a bunch of podcasts together. It was just kind of an idea. We've been talking about doing a live show for a really long time and just never pulled the trigger on it. And it really
Is this your first live show?
This is the first. I mean, we do live every single Friday. Every Friday,
taking
but
it out of your space,
taking it out of
on
our
the road.
studio and just kind of bringing it to a spot. And it's very cool that they let us do it here. So welcome.
Cool.
Well, thanks for joining us. I asked you to be here because I am deeply impressed by your art and your process and your approach. In Eau Claire.
We're very impressed by you.
Oh,
We
come
loved
on.
your
Oh,
show
come
today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. But, yeah, I mean,
We've just been we're lifers. We were born creatives and
Yeah, just get close to the mic if you can.
we've been like born creatives, and I was painting in oil since I was 9 years old.
Oh,
and
wow.
My first memories are making marks when I was a baby, probably. And so it was just something that, we came here and we go, these are our people,
Yeah.
And so that's why we wanted to be a part of this. And
Yeah,
really,
Wendy was written up in the local papers at the age of 9 as a child prodigy. And I always joked with her. After 12, she kind of went downhill. But by the time she was 12, she was selling painters to designers in Milwaukee of big paintings of women with floppy hats and stuff. And it was like crazy. But she did end up in Minneapolis College of Art, actually.
I
And,
went 2 years
Cool.
here and then transferred to Minneapolis College of Art and Design.
Nice.
And Dairy Farmer's Daughter, which is Wisconsin.
Yeah. Yep.
And so, so I always wanted to, when I was a little girl, I used to say, when I was playing in the barns and
Yeah.
doing that when we had spare time. And I would say, I just want to stay here on the farm and be an artist. I don't want to go anywhere else. And my dad said, no, if you're going to be an artist, you have to go to like New York or California.
Chicago.
You
Yeah.
won't be able to stay on the farm, and
Yeah.
you'll get married and have a family, and you won't be here anymore. And so little did he know, I'd come back home and bring my, my artist friend. And so, we got
Yeah, I'm
married.
sure they were thrilled that you brought an artist home.
No, by that time, they were like, whoever she marries, we just got to get this girl married. Doesn't matter. So we, I met Kevin in Florida, in St. Petersburg. And
Beautiful
actually, I
area.
got lost. I graduated from Minneapolis College of Art and Design. I didn't have any money to go on to graduate school, so I was kind of like lost. And I was not a city person. I wilt in the city.
Sure.
I like wider open spaces and less people and just easier times.
I think it's an
with
acquired
things.
taste for a lot of us.
And
I can't
so-
say I'm a city person.
Yeah.
You just deal with it.
Yeah, but I can't deal with it. I
Yeah.
just
No, we used to do the art expos in New York, and Wendy would just shut down. I'd
Cold
find her in the
cloth on my
hotel
head,
with a
curtains
cloth over,
closed.
over her eyes and just checked
Just
out
too
entirely.
much
You know.
stimulation.
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't it was just like too much was bombarded because
Yeah.
I think because I was more of a creative person and how I grew up, that constant I couldn't process it.
Right.
Just to get to be too much, but done it. But that's not Anyway,
But I came up in Baltimore, and
met
my
him.
parents were military. We had a little brief discussion about my folks. My dad worked for the National Security Agency in Laurel, Maryland, and he was started out as an Iowa farm boy, and we ended up in he went to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, to the military college there, and we ended up out there. Actually, my mom was a Mennonite, so that going back further, she was married to a Mennonite from a Mennonite family, and when by the age of 3, I guess they were divorced. My mom was a rebel and didn't fit in with the clan, I guess, so she wasn't going to do the patriarchal thing, but so she ended up marrying a military man, which was 2 strikes against her with the Mennonites for sure, So we were actually shunned, I guess, and I wasn't even aware of it until I became an adult. But so we moved to Alaska for 5 years, and then we moved to Turkey for 5 years. And because we were out of the country, I really didn't know we were shunned until we met our relatives that were missionaries in Tehran, and they were Mennonites as well. They were Mennonite missionaries, but because they were over there and we were over there, then we could get together, I guess, very strange. But no, my dad being an Iowa farm boy, career military, chief warrant officer 5, gung-ho military, shine your brass, kid, But like Jim Morrison, like his dad, But I was like, he was very supportive of my art ideas, which was very unusual because all my friends, every one of my friends from high school ended up in the military academies, the Air Force, Navy, West Point, every one of them. Even one guy who was my worst enemy in high school, who was an artist, he ended up going to art school and ROTC at the same time. So he ended up as a lieutenant in the military out of art school, which I thought was bizarre. But he used to love to make weapons in sculpture class. He would make throwing stars and throwing knives.
Right.
I went to his apartment one time and he blew a hole through the wall. And
That is an alien inside.
In an inner city apartment, he blew a hole through the wall with his 45 just cleaning his gun. And I said, man, you are a dangerous dude, But thank God he ended up in the right place in the military, But yeah, my dad was like, you have talent. You don't need to be doing this. This is for people that have nothing else going on. And I was like, and he said, well, I'll pay for half of art school if you pay for the other half, And that was just didn't make sense to me. But then I realized they both came from really uptight, conservative families that wouldn't let them do anything. And I think they were trying to be the opposite with me, which was great. My best friend, his dad was a 4-star general in Eurasia, in Turkey. And he was determined he was going to West Point. And they'd get up and throw plates at each other at supper and yell and scream. And John was into music. He wanted to be an audio engineer back when there were like tubes and amplifiers and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
He loved music. He loved electronics. And he was bound. They would just fight tooth and nail all the time, But, so I don't know if he ended up at West Point. We didn't really stay together. But his older brother died in a helicopter exercise at West Point. So, and his dad still wanted him to go there.
Wow.
So I dodged a bullet there for sure. But
I think so.
yeah, started out in advertising for a minute in Baltimore. Did Milky Way, Slinky, Corningware, Dixie Cups. You name it, I probably had a hand in doing package design with it and stuff. McCormick Spices.
Now,
Gordon's
what
Vodka,
year was that?
Colt 45 malt liquor.
Works every time.
Let's say that.
Actually, I was the only white guy in a commercial for Colt 45 malt liquor back in Baltimore. That was my claim to fame. But That's awesome. I was in college in like 74 to 78, and it would have been the early 80s, I guess.
So that is all pen to paper type of stuff. That isn't really.
Oh my God! Yeah.
That's not. That's
Back in
not
the day,
Photoshop.
It was,
you know.
yeah. I mean, no computers.
Product to finish.
Yeah, it was concept to what they call mechanicals, which was you go in a dark room. I tell my daughter this, you know, and she can't even fathom it. You would take a camera literally in a dark room and project type onto a piece of photo paper.
Yep.
Then you would have to put it into the chemicals like a black and white photo and process your type on the paper. You go out, cut it out with an X-Acto knife, paste it down with rubber cement.
Wow.
What do they call it? They were mechanicals, but they call them paste ups, you know, because you use rubber cement.
Now that's the stuff
some
that we
old
used to
school,
do
man.
in like the late 80s for heavy metal flyers. When we would put flyers together, it would be like, hey, did somebody draw your logo? Yeah, can you give me a copy of it? Then you photocopy it and you cut it into the. I mean, it looked like the collage photo.
Probably
here.
looked like kidnapping notes or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. That's exactly what it was. Hey, this man's going to be here. Yeah, that is exactly what it looked like for sure.
No, we were highly professional, but I mean, we had accounts with Corningware that, you know, were huge, and I was right out of college. They recruited me. The art director gave me his own personal office with a leather chair and a bathroom, and I was pretty much living there. And one of the sales reps came back and told me how much they made off just one of I think I had 7 accounts going from concept to finished product. And we made prototypes for packaging in a one-of-a-kind hand-drawn silk screen, and you would mock up these packages, and then you take them to the manufacturers and said, here's what your new look is going to be.
Right.
So we came up with the new idea. Dude would come in and said, I need 7 Milky Way wrappers by Wednesday, you know.
Yeah.
And you'd stay there till 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, coming up with this silly stuff. But I guess I was good at it because everybody hated my guts that had been there for 5 years. They all wanted to kill me. And literally would grab you by the collar and twist your, you know, and strangle you on the staircase going, listen, you know, I've been here 5 years. And I'm like, dude, I don't even want to be here. I'm just trying to keep my parents happy, you know. I told my parents I'd get a real job, you know, and I said, I really want to be an artist. And they're like, then they hate you even worse because you didn't want it, you know.
They've been working hard for this specific thing.
I know they came from Pennsylvania and they were busting their chops and climbing to the top. And I just walked in and took over the place. And art director just said, here, kid, go make us some money. But when the sales rep came in and told me what they made off this one account out of like 7 that was all mine from scratch, literally I came up with the concept, did the work, produced the product, and the sales rep guy took it out the door. And this was millions of dollars for one product. And I was getting paid barely enough to pay my apartment rent in Baltimore, which was nothing. I lived above a Jewish delicatessen. It was a fabulous place to live. But I was probably paying $185 a month or something crazy. And I could barely make ends meet with what they were paying me. I had no clue.
The life of an artist.
It was so corrupt.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, it was like, let's just eat this kid out and throw him out, you know. I had no idea.
So how did you guys get to the spot where you were able to create together simultaneously? Because when Pat, or no, it was Trillium that told us when we came here the first day, and we both looked at each other like, huh? Like, how is that possible?
Why?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Well, a little background. After I quit my job in advertising, I actually had a collapsed lung from stress. I had a spontaneous pneumothorax, and they said it was partially from a birth defect that I had since childhood. And, you know, you're growing and your lungs and your rib cage aren't growing at the same rate.
Right.
So my lung literally collapsed, and I had to go in and get a big chest tube. And it looks like I've been shot in my chest.
Yeah, when
they
I first met him, I was like, what happened to you? Did you, like, get shot in Baltimore or what?
Yeah, I should have gone, yeah, I've been shot a couple times. Just want to see the other holes. But, no, I wasn't I wasn't 50 Cent. But I ended up... it was stress. I mean, that's what the doctor said. If you keep doing what you're doing, which was living in this studio till 3 in the morning, whatever, and not having any other life. Well, I rode motorcycles. I'd hop on my motorcycle and go up to Pennsylvania, and I'd go, you know, drink a little wine on the river or whatever. But that was the only outlet I had to keep me sane. But he said, you got to change your life quickly, or you're going to be back here again, you know. And I was like, this is no fun. They literally stick like a 9-inch plastic thing down in between your rib cage and your lungs, you know. And then they screwed up and had to rip it out the first time and say, oh, we got to do it again. We didn't do it right the first time. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do this again. So I walked in. Once I got out of the hospital, I said, I can't do this anymore. And but I was hanging around. I mean, the people in advertising were evil. Can't say it on here, I imagine, but anyway, they were not nice people, and you know, it was highly competitive. It was not my nature, so I started hanging around the tavern, which was the local art bar. You know, it's where all the fine artists hung out. You know, and they're all like, "Oh, come on over. We're doing some figure drawing over at our place." And I'm like, "Naked women? Is there going to be alcohol?" You know, and I was like, "That sounds like a good idea." You know, so ended up going and hanging out with these guys, and we'd all be making pastels, rolling out colors, and we'd cut them up and share them, trade with each other. And they're like, "Oh, I got the secret formula from Rembrandt. You want to know what it is, you know? Or here's the secret formula of Titian or Vermeer, you know?" And I make it in my kitchen, and they were just sharing this stuff freely, you know. And I was like, "This is not the world that I'm coming from. But this is the world I want to live in, you know." And everybody, like, I got a portrait I can't get to. You want to call this lady? And they give you their jobs. And I'm like, this is the way the world is supposed to be.
Right.
You know, we weren't competing. We were in it together. We were all trying to survive. And it was like, you know, it was kind and compassionate, and it was everything that the real world
should be, right?
Wasn't for me at that time.
Really,
So
like if everybody would just make something, everybody would be fulfilled, and there wouldn't be war or people trying to kill each other because somebody would
Well
find
said.
something.
Yeah, if you were busy.
Their soul would be speaking.
Right.
When their soul can't speak,
Idle
shut
hands are
down
the
and
playground of the
become
devil.
evil.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I agree.
think that's
Or they want to take it from someone else, you know?
Exactly.
But
so
once I quit and I met all these artists, I was really good about talking about art, and I could get money for it. I was kind of like everybody's hope because we were all starving. We'd find an onion in the fridge, and my roommates and us, and a little half a bottle of Tabasco. We'd literally like Mexican Fiesta, you know. We always had money for beer. We'd get a 30-pack. We'd just like, you know, tap that Tabasco out on the onion, and everybody take a bite, and that was dinner, you know. I mean, that's how bad it was. But we didn't care, man. We were doing art, and we were having fun, you know. And we'd have these parties where we'd throw down huge sheets of paper, turn out the lights. Everybody do like Twister in the dark with charcoal and draw, you know, automatic drawing. They called it like the surrealists, like Dali and all these guys did it. We thought, oh, this is cool. You know, and then we'd take it up to the museum and strap it to the wall and, you know, do a protest because they charge artists to get in the museum. And it was there was a lot of wild stuff happening in the arts in Baltimore back in the 80s and 90s. It was dark, but very exciting. It was, you know, it was punk era too, where we had bands that had no idea how to play music, but they were jamming, man.
Right.
You know, they'd rent a 5-story parking garage with a keg on every level, $5 to get in. There'd be a band on every level, and it'd go all night, you know.
Yeah.
And then artists would build stuff in the middle of the street as protest, you know, like towers of televisions with garbage spewing out into the streets, you know, as protest against consumerism or whatever.
Right.
And it was like, you know, it was a great time, and nobody really cared, you know, if you... I mean, everybody shared it. We were all just getting through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, I had friends that were geniuses, but they'd be in the soup line next time you saw them. You know, they were amazing, creative individuals that could do anything. And then, but they didn't care. You know, they didn't care. They were in the soup line.
There's such a fine line there too. You know what I mean? Like you're creating something very special and very cool, and in trying to sell it to something that is evil, or like trying to take it and you know what I mean? Like use it for a product that may not even, you know what I mean? Like you're not behind.
I never really thought of it like that. I was just trying to, you know, keep the folks happy because they paid for half of art school. But but I was really good at being able to talk money out of people's pockets as an artist when I was young, and I pretty much I fed most of my friends, you know, and but the city back in the Carter era, they had mural projects going because they actually had government funding for mural projects in the federal government, and I would bid on these mural projects for the city. And the next lowest bid would be like 60 grand, 65 grand, and mine would be at 35 grand, which in 80s, 90s seemed like
still
a lot of money.
But
we'd have 120-foot walls, 24 feet high. We'd get some scaffolding, and we'd eat for 3 months, you know. I mean, we had food and beer. We were happy, you know. But I just
And
somehow.
that's when he started working with people.
Yeah, but that's how
creatively,
I'd
the
hire all my
collaboration
friends. We'd work together
began.
and paint, you know, as a team. Gallons and gallons of sign paint and stuff, you know. So it just, we all were doing it together, and it, you know. But I had a bad habit of going behind my individual artist friends, picking up their work and going, "Are you done with this, man? Look, I think you could go further with this," you know. And like one friend was into Irish folk art and Celtic stuff and castles on the coastline of Ireland, and I'd shellac his ragboard watercolor, and I'd paint oils over it. And I actually worked in a frame shop too, so I'd frame it up deluxe, you know, take it to an Irish pub and say, "Hey, me and my friends are going to come eat here for the next month, and I'm going to go hang this on your mantelpiece in the other room." And they're like, "Oh, wow, that's awesome." And I go get my friends, say, "Hey, let's go eat at the Irish pub." Like, we're broke as hell, man. You know? And I'm like, no, just trust me, you know. We go eat, and then everybody's like, "What are we going to do? We got no money." And I said, "Go in the other room, look over the mantle," you know. My buddy's like, "That's my painting." I'm like, "Not anymore, it isn't. We're eating it for the next month," you know. But when I left Baltimore, everybody thought they were going to starve, you know. It was kind of scary.
Kevin is he's a critical thinker,
Yeah.
and so he likes to analyze things and figure things out. So I think when he went to museums and started painting, you know, what he saw on the walls, he was doing Rembrandt and Vermeers, and he liked all the classical artists. I think that got him looking at things really intensely and wanting to create a space in a painting where you could walk into it and sort of get lost. And so he almost had this like theatrical kind of thing. So when we first met in Fort DeSoto and went out painting together.
Well, Wendy had a boyfriend at the time, but he was,
Yeah.
she went to Florida with the guy, basically, but I was running away from a girl in Baltimore that wanted to get married. And, I mean, I hopped on a motorcycle, and basically I had a French easel, which is a portable easel you can put your paint in, and I had a little briefcase full of all my important papers, and on the back of my bike with the sissy bar, everything strapped on the sissy bar. And I was just getting out of Dodge, you know, because I didn't think artists could be married. I thought, if you read art history books, it doesn't usually end well, even for some of the best artists in history, like Rembrandt died in poverty. And this is not something, you know, if you read art
Don't
history.
get tied to an artist.
Yeah, you don't normally get into it for the money because it never ends well, you know. But so I thought, artists can't be married, you know.
So anyway, I went down to Florida because I had graduated from MCAD and was kind of just doing art here. I had an art show at Be Framed downtown when she first opened up. You know, I was working with the local art group, Lori Bigi. We had a little art group down at the where Two Roots is now, you know. And so just always was wanting to be an artist and do everything involved in art. But I could not, like, I just felt I cannot make any headway here. I'm just like hitting my head against a wall, and I need to see the world and do other things, you know. My sister had moved to Colorado, so went out there for a little bit, did some art workshops with different artists, Albert Handel and Daniel Green from New York. And I said, you know, I can't be around my sister. You know, she will just tell me what to do.
Yeah, she's
all
very
the time.
controlling.
So
Well, she raises Arabian horses.
went
She got like
home.
50 horses.
Wow.
She's a
crazy-
tough
crazy,
rancher.
Yeah, crazy about
But you do what
items,
she
about
says or
art.
you're in
She's
trouble.
about Arabian horses. So I just knew that wasn't going to work. Well, my girlfriend from Minneapolis College of Art and Design had a brother. And I kind of, you know, was seeing him. They were all going down to Florida. So I went down there. I got a little house and a little dog. And I went out to find a beach and ended up on the causeway going to St. Petersburg from Tampa, got lost. And, of course, I saw a sign I'd circled in a newspaper, you know. That's how you found
Right,
things.
right. Yeah.
And
Maps
that's why I
and
was
newspapers.
lost because, you know, you can't really look at a map when you're driving. So I'd circled. I thought, they said there was a framing place or art supply warehouse there. And I'm looking at the newspaper and going across this causeway. And all of a sudden, there was the exit, it said. And there was a big billboard that said Southern Art Supply. I thought, perfect. Took my big gold station wagon. There was a parking spot right out front of the store. Pulled in, tied my little puppy to a tree, and went and walked into Southern Art Supply. And Kevin came out and he goes, "Are you here for the job?" And I said, no, I'm an artist from Wisconsin and I'm lost. I was trying to find a beach. And I said, but I saw art supplies. So here I am. And that's where we
she
met.
was dressed for the beach with like terry cloth halter top
I was
and
not going for
short
a job.
shorts, and I was like,
I was not going
this
for a
is not
job
appropriate dress for an interview, you know. But I'm liking it. I can't really say that now, but you know, back in the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
But
Are
I was
you
like,
here for the job? Which job is that, sir? That's
Oh, man. So he said, well, let me show you around. We'll talk all about art and art supplies. And then he said, you know, you're going to really need an art job, you know. And I said, well, I've been trying to get some framing jobs in Tampa, but I don't have any experience, so nobody will hire me. And he said, well, you come to work here, and I'll teach you everything you need to know. And then, you know, and I said, oh, it's too far.
I said, give me 2 weeks. I said, I'll teach you. You know, she made frames with her grandpa out of Barnwood when her grandpa was a carpenter. So she had rudimentary knowledge of it. And I knew, you know, being an artist, you got creativity and discipline. I knew I could make her into a framer in 2 weeks.
So he convinced his boss to hire me without experience.
Wow.
So crazy.
Yeah, I said, please let me have her. No, you can't say that. But you got to remember, this is 1986.
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But
And so I started working there, and we would go out painting with our French easels to Fort DeSoto. And then that's how we started painting together. But we were each painting separately, individually. And then
Wendy would have 5 or 6 wet paintings going, like Monet just toss, as the light changed, she'd toss one up on the easel and lean another one
and
against
Kevin
the palm
had
tree.
one for 6 months.
I was working on this egret and herons in the mangrove swamp with the cypress knees, and it was like lotus, you know, lily pads with lotus flowers in it. It was intense. I mean, it was like crazy.
So anyway, basically, what it really comes down to is I start the paintings and he finishes them. And then we've been doing this together so long that has merged into more of a collaboration.
That's beautiful.
Between the two. But our styles are completely different. How that works, I have no idea. But
Yeah,
it works.
I
Well,
wish we could share some of the.
It's much like a relationship, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like opposites attract and things like that. I mean, you're into the same things. You love art and creativity and being a part of the process and being able to merge the two together is amazing.
I kind of equate it to musicians working together. You got a lot of different people with different ideas and egos, and you know, writers working together, dancers working together. I mean, people think artists need to be the lone nerve endings of society, like poets or something. They have to be sad and lonely, and I'm like, I just didn't think that was necessary. It didn't seem right to me in my head, you know.
But we like the same things in art history, and we like the same things when we would go to art shows. And
We'd do a gallery walk in Scottsdale, Arizona that had just a massive amount of galleries, dozens of galleries, one after the other. We'd see thousands of pieces of art in one evening and walk to the local saloon afterwards and go, what did you like? And after seeing all that, we both, I mean, one might be a huge 3 foot or 5 foot by 6 foot painting by a Montana artist, Clyde Aspavig. Another one was like a little saloon girl, 8 by 10. And we both were immediately attracted to the exact same thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thousands of pieces of art.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we could do what we do.
Synergy.
Without having that kind of sympathetic interest, you know.
And a lot of times we don't know where it's going either.
We have no idea. Today we started 4 little paintings at a live painting right before, you know, we came here. So we only allow ourselves 2 hours to get the canvas cover. And we had 4 of them strapped all together. And we're like, we had no idea what we were even going to paint when we started because we were kind of rushing around today. And we were just like, you know,
and
just winging
the
it.
best things come from that.
It's like just the
Serendipity.
spontaneity and, you know, I mean, especially for me, overthinking was my life. You know, I was like, Wendy's like, how much you going to sell that painting you spent 6 months on, you know? And I said, she's like, if you get $100,000 for it, that's great, you know? And I was like, well, I did sell it to a doctor for a good amount of money, but it was like, I actually ended up with the painting because he ran away from a divorce. I got the painting back.
We have many thousands and thousands of stories. So if you want to keep to a specific
Right.
Well, I mean, I
right.
think one of the things that's impressed me most is your ability to get on like Facebook Live, whether it's Two Roots or here, and do these date nights, and then just collaborate and be together and
You have to paint
I
like
mean,
nobody's watching. That's what
I started painting and drawing so young, and I was extremely shy. Like, even when I went to MCAD, I still, in critiques, I couldn't talk about anything. It was terrifying.
And everything was intellectual BS back then.
And I cannot
you
be
could
intellectual
you can make one mark on a paper, but as long as you could talk about it,
Yeah.
in volumes intellectually,
I used
everybody
to
was in
say,
awe.
The art speaks for itself.
Right.
I'm not.
Nobody
a
wanted to
speaker.
hear that.
Right.
I'm a painter. That's my voice right there.
But I remember sitting around in the art bars till 3 a.m. trying to solve the world's problems. We were all just getting drunk basically, but we all thought we knew something. And it was like
Been there, done that.
after doing that for years, I thought there's no solution here. You just got to work your ass off.
Yeah.
That's the only answer.
Yeah.
You just work. Do your
Where
work, man.
where can the folks find your artwork besides this place? Do you guys have websites? Do you have things that you want to
Oh yeah.
tell people?
Yep, we have a website. It's SchaeferMilesFineArt.com, SchaeferMiles, fineart.com. And
We do Facebook, Schaefer Miles FA.
I'll be sure to share them on
Yeah,
my
yeah.
Facebook accounts,
And so-
your website
Sure,
and stuff.
sure.
And I mean, I really wish the audience that's not familiar with you two, we're from the Twin Cities, Eau Claire, so there's going to be a bunch of audience that doesn't know what you do.
Oh, absolutely.
But you create amazing paintings as one. And that is so inspiring. And it's weird. It's weird. You want to talk about Alien Inside? You've got
Yeah,
like two
that's it.
aliens talking
That's it.
and creating a synergy
Yeah.
and a symphony of art.
Well, we
on a
get-
regular basis.
We
Just
get
amazing.
confronted sometimes by
36
artists
years.
like, how could you let somebody work on your work, or I get male artists going, must be nice to have somebody do your artwork for you. And it's nothing to do
Wow.
with any of that. But
Yeah.
Wendy often gets female artists going, how could you let a man work on your paintings? I
Right.
mean, they get very defensive about the
Right.
whole thing.
Yeah,
And,
it's kind of weird.
but for us, I think we both got those letters in 3rd grade to send home to your parents that say, plays well with others, because it's just, we don't
but
have.
here, I got to say the other thing, too, is, okay, so we met in Florida, married, moved back to Wisconsin, and lived with my parents on the dairy farm with one bathroom.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but there were 5 buildings, 2 big barns,
Well, yeah,
a lot
we
of
were-
outbuildings.
yeah, we were working
We had
in all these
space.
spaces.
Yeah.
But I
We
said,
were working in our
my
living room
parents
covered
were
in plastic.
collaborative. They loved art. I did shows, like I said, when I was 12. My mom was the drive the kid around so she can do the
stage
art
mom.
thing,
Yeah.
And I mean, because they knew we were both obsessed with it, and they wanted to support that. And you need people to support what you do. That's huge.
Yeah, when I
Yeah,
first
you
met
do.
her dad,
I mean,
The network is very important.
he
Yes,
was trying
for
to
sure.
make me into a farmer,
well, he
and
couldn't imagine.
he had me following behind flatbed truck behind a diesel tractor, which I'm high. When I moved to Wisconsin, I went to an allergy doctor in La Crosse, found out I was allergic to diesel fumes, birch trees, and corn.
Nope.
And I'm like on a
That's it.
farm with a diesel
Sorry,
tractor,
buddy, I can't
birch
do
tree
it.
outside of my bedroom.
Doctor says I can't do it.
And then her dad's like, we got to toughen this kid up, I mean, I was pretty much a city kid. So, yeah, he had me following behind on the tractor, pulling. Back then, they used to plow, and rocks would come up in the spring when the earth, thawed out. Big rocks would come up out of the ground, and somebody had to get them out because they damaged the farm equipment. So I'm following like a slave. I'm following behind this big old, flatbed behind the diesel fumes and stuff, and picking up huge rocks and putting them in the flatbed all day long. And I'm like, damn, this is I never understood how hard these guys worked.
Then he made one call to Sherry Fairings. Do you remember that, Patricia? Fairings Designs.
Yeah, I
down
looked
on
in.
Barstow.
I'm like, this is not going to be my life. I can't do this.
And we sold. She came out.
But you sleep really good.
She came out and bought Baker's dozen of paintings and just.
Yeah, I called the largest interior designer I found in the phone book in the Yellow Pages back then, and
Yeah.
I said, we're just moved in the area. We have a small
Yellow
collection of
Pages.
art. We're up from Florida, but we're living on a farm 45 minutes from Eau Claire. She came out in her Lincoln Continental, wrote out a check for thousands of dollars for everything we had. And I took it into my father-in-law, the dairy farmer. I gave it to him, and I said, we're in business. That was my first phone call, because I decided being a farmer was not going to work for me, And he said, that's my milk check for like 3 months. And I'm like, that's how you do it, you know. and,
Hustle, baby.
Didn't bother him anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
But the cool thing was she turned us on to it because I said, being from the East Coast, and everybody hustles on the East Coast. I
Right.
don't know if you guys know the East Coast, but you don't talk to people in the streets back in the day at all because you'd get robbed or bludgeoned or, you know, I mean, it was not a friendly place. I had a motorcycle and a leather jacket with a roadkill collar, long hair down below my shoulders, and I'd growl at everybody that even looked at me sideways. So I was like, it
You
was.
don't look that like that.
Well, no, it was protection. You did it, you know, you were surviving, man. You were trying
Yeah.
not to get killed. So it was like, but I'm sorry. Go ahead. I got to
You're
take a
losing.
drink.
Losing your voice. I don't know where you're going with that there. I was just visualizing the roadkill.
Well,
and
we appreciate you guys
Yeah.
coming and
Well, she saw a
sharing
painting
your
I
story
did
too.
in that
Totally.
mode of my life, and I don't know, but I remember women used to look at that portrait and go, Kevin, I didn't know you had that in you. And they always got excited about this portrait. And I was like, oh, okay.
So where do you come up with your content, your topics, your scenery, your vision? Who starts that?
We
Where does it come
always
from?
were, you know, we both loved the outdoors, and so we spent a lot of time hiking and going to, you know, arboretums, botanical gardens. You know,
Well,
that was kind of our quest.
We went to the Art Institute in Chicago originally, and we walked the whole museum, and we said, okay, if we're going to do this for a living, what do we want to do? You know, we went to the Picasso room and saw the Bronx and Cubism, and we're like, you know, not that we weren't already familiar
And
with
we were
all that stuff, you know.
experimenting. We were doing like
You know,
10 different
I used to do
styles.
surrealism. I told you I
I
did a
still
lot
do
of urban art that
abstracts
was really dark
that
and
I do
twisted.
out
Tim
there.
Burton.
Yeah.
Actually, in
Plantation.
Baltimore, guys like Tim
Color
Burton,
field.
Edgar Allan Poe, you know, John Waters. Anybody familiar with John Waters? That's all Baltimore. You know, there's a lot of dark, kind of weird stuff going on, and a lot of decadent stuff, and then it, you know, you get involved in all that. It's not saying it's a bad thing, but it
And
got
Kevin did a
really
lot
dark and
more
overwhelming for
surrealism
me. You
at
know?
that time too, and I think he had to leave the city just because it was affecting
Yeah.
him too much.
Yeah.
Well,
And
there's a
so
lot
then
of
he met
partying
me,
going
and
on.
he goes, "I've never met anybody like you." So I said, "Is that good or bad? I don't know."
So you start it. You start the picture,
Yeah.
and he finishes.
Yeah.
Do you have the original vision of what the picture is going to be? So do you work off a photo
sometimes,
or?
sometimes yes, sometimes no. Majority of the
That's
time
a
we're looking at
collaboration, too.
our reference material and picking from things
Yeah,
that we
they-
photographed.
Okay.
Like,
And we do work on location. Like when we first started, we were always just with our French easels working on location. And I think that helps us.
yeah, we
It's
still
like-
do.
It's so in
We
your
plan
head.
out all of our shows
Yeah.
and trips to go find
know.
stuff to paint. You know, like
Okay.
where do you want to go paint this year? And then we
Try to find a
arrange-
show to go.
Yeah, we arrange shows around that, and then you
We
know.
have a box truck that we put everything in. And I mean, over the years, I had 2 children, and my parents would travel with us, and we had a 5th wheel and a trailer.
Had
and take a
nannies and
van
cousins coming
a-
with.
Another cargo truck.
We were out. We were
Wow.
touring.
Because we were,
That's
we were
awesome.
doing festivals. And when we first started, we'd do 52 shows in a year. And
54,
double up, 'cause we
54
double
the
up,
first
yeah.
year
Yeah.
because we had
Wow.
no clue. We just were trying to find an
We were
audience.
just working.
You know, The-
Trying to figure it out.
yeah, where do
What
people
to-
buy art, and where are they going to buy our
And I mean,
art? You know,
not that it's about buying art, but
Well,
for
sure it is.
well, but I mean,
but that's not why you do
selling
it.
art.
Because, like I said, if you read the art history books, that
but I mean, our whole thing is we just wanted to keep doing it and figure out a way to make a living at it to be able to continue to do it because that was it almost was our desperation.
Sure.
You know, when we first met, we said in Florida, we had both had jobs. He hired me in an art supply warehouse, and then we worked in Fantastic Graphics, where we watched people. We were on assembly line creating art for J.C. Penney's, and they actually that was
$3.25
when
an
we-
hour.
That's when we learned that people actually steal your designs and artwork was the beginning of that. But that's a whole nother long story. But I mean, you know, we started to learn about the art business because in art school you don't learn about the art business.
It's all
It's all
aesthetics.
aesthetics, and that evil
Oh.
word selling is.
In our school, I went to the Maryland Institute College of Art in Baltimore, 4-year art college, and when you graduate, the last day they have an assembly. They get everybody together that's graduating, and the dean gets up and he says, "Oh, by the way, only 1 or 2% of you are going to make a living in art. After you've been there for 4 years and spent all the money on it, they just say this isn't a realistic idea."
Way to go. Way to choose the path.
Well,
right?
but
MCAT
that's
was the same.
everybody's pretty obviously aware of that to start with, But a lot of those kids came from money, and they didn't have to sweat that, A lot of artists too in history, Cezanne and Gauguin, was a banker, an investment banker. A lot of people that changed art didn't have to sell art, so they could do whatever, and they made changes in history basically because they could do whatever the heck they wanted without those pressures, But we just loved
And
nature.
I mean, we
wanted to
lived
be outside.
with my parents. We raised our children that way so we could do it.
Yeah, we
because
had 3
otherwise-
generations in the same
Yep.
That's
house,
awesome.
Yeah, that's
And
very cool.
We knew we had to travel. We had to go where art was happening, where things were.
Yeah, we went
happening.
to Naples, Florida, New York.
So do you even have a
Scottsdale.
concept of how much you've actually created? Like,
Many thousands of pieces of art.
Wow.
Probably maybe 4,000.
Tens of thousands of
Wow.
published pieces all over
And
the
if you
world.
count what I did before I met him, probably a whole lot more. My
But I
mom
mean,
has that catalog.
Toulouse-Lautrec and Picasso created tens of thousands of pieces of art. And Toulouse-Lautrec died in his 30s or 40s. He had probably fell off a horse and was dwarfed. And he used to hang around the Moulin Rouge painting all the dancing girls all the time and drinking absinthe. So that might have shortened his life.
Just a little bit.
But
Little bit.
he came from money as well. He was a gentleman from the country. But I think he did like 42,000 pieces of art in his
Yeah, so
very
we're not
short
even gonna
lifetime.
touch that.
Yeah, and I mean, he drew prolifically, like, just insane creative people, So, yeah, I don't know if it's always about how much you produce, but if you want to
no,
make
I
a
was
living.
just curious. I think me making 600 and having that inventoried
Yeah,
is a big deal.
that's-
But I mean, compared to really
Yeah, but
producing artists,
We've been
It's a-
doing it forever.
Yeah.
We quit our jobs in 1987. Right after we got married there. And then
The landlord took the car the first year.
and the accountants laughed at us, and we ate beans and rice, but we like tacos.
We actually saved $2,000
yeah, it was pretty.
in the first couple of years because we lived on
Wanted to get out of
nothing.
Tampa.
I mean, it was like we were
Yep.
just budgeting because we wanted to get up to Wisconsin, But yeah.
My idea. Guess what? But anyway.
Well,
we
yeah,
can let
Wendy
somebody
said-
else-
well, no,
Yeah.
I mean,
more
we have one more
questions?
person to talk to tonight. I think we can keep going.
Sure.
A little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. We have 2. Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Oh, okay. We're gonna interview Tom.
Yeah.
So we'll do Tom next, and then
Yep.
we'll do
Yeah.
Jeff.
Sounds good.
And
Thank you very much for
So,
sharing your story.
you too.
Appreciate
Thank
it very
you.
much.
And
You
I-
are.
We don't give
greatly
much of a
inspiring
chance to
me.
even ask questions. We just rattle on.
What now? If you could tell them one more time where they could see your artwork, and just for the record.
Well,
Well,
we're
we have artwork here at
yeah, we're-
the 1106 in Gallery 1, and
1106 Mondovi Road in
you
Eau
can
Claire,
purchase it
Wisconsin.
right through Trillium, right in the decadent.
Yeah.
decadent
And you
gift
have
shop.
Gift shop.
you Facebook Live
Yeah.
events.
Yeah, we're also at the Two
you're
Roots
pretty
Gallery
regularly out there.
in
And
Eau
then
Claire.
you can just see us all over the place. If you go on our Facebook, you'll see our show schedule start popping up.
Yeah.
But we haven't really.
We start
firmed
traveling
up
in the
yet, so-
spring, go to DC.
Yeah.
We'll be in the mountains all
What's
summer.
the moniker on Facebook again?
Schaefer Miles Fine Art, Schaefer Miles FA. But yeah, we're still touring. We're getting a little long in the tooth, but we love. I can't be home for too long without getting crazy. I mean, it's like
Oh, yeah.
little Jack Nicholson or Jack.
But I mean,
Yeah, Jack
whole thing
Nicholson in The
is
Shining after
we're-
me in the wintertime.
you really get addicted to going to the shows,
Oh, yeah.
meeting new artists, seeing new places.
Well, you
It's
meet
very-
you get back with
and-
all your friends from
Yep.
all over the country.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's
all your
very
creative
similar.
friends.
I have to bring it right back to here because when we came up, when we first met this place, it was an outside event they were holding, and we came in as outside artists to
Oh.
showcase our work, and that's when we said, "Wow, this is really neat," because let's face it, back in Whitehall on the farm, it's really hard. We tried with several little groups and different things, but they all disband, everybody. And that's what happens here too, but at least here you get a more of an influx of constant
Right.
change.
For us,
of
this
creative
was
people.
this was reaching out for a social life with artists for us because we've got many thousands of square foot to work in, beautiful barns and renovated buildings to work in. We don't need a studio space, but we need to contact with other creative people. We needed to feed that energy, and Eau Claire's amazing for a town this size. The amount of amazing talent in this town is almost hard to fathom.
And of course, the biggest thing about a space like this is the space. Like you being able to have a show, a collective of your work, look at it all together as a whole.
Yeah.
That is so rare, and that's what I don't think people realize. Maybe, of course, artists probably realize, but public as general, that this kind of a space, we got to get a buyer for this.
Yeah, this is a very valuable
Yes.
establishment.
I agree.
I guess
Yeah.
they're under
continue
talks
to
now
feed the
for
energy, but
somebody that's
anyway.
very interested in the artistic end of
guess
this
I've
whole
said
deal.
my-
So
Whatever. But we
Wendy,
love it
Kevin, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks.
It's been great hearing your
Artemis,
stories.
I just think it's such a breath of fresh air to have you here. 'cause
Thank you.
I love your offbeat, mind, because I've been there, done all that too. Coming from the city, and
Well, we're going to keep in touch.
And I
We'll
love
find a
it.
way to collaborate in some way. I would love that.
Cool.
So,
There's
Thank you very
Albert
much.
Under.
Tom.
Nice to meet you.
you as well.
There he is.
all right.
We're not as cool as Tom though.
That was Kevin and Wendy Schaefer-Miles.
Thank you,
Yes,
guys.
very nice. Thank you very much.
Hello, sir.
How you doing, you guys?
Good, good. We'll make sure you
Yes,
got you on
right in the
for you
camera,
right
yep.
there. And your piece
Perfect.
is
I
there.
Nope, that's
nope.
Nope,
that's
back
Pat's.
here.
I have a bunch of pieces throughout here. We're looking at 1, 2, 3.
Well, let's bring it out to
four.
the camera so we can show people what.
You want me to? Yeah.
Can we
If
grab
you
it?
want to grab one, you
Let
can.
me grab one of my new ones.
All right.
Okay,
Just a second,
okay.
just a second.
Sounds good.
Holy smokes!
That's a lot of talking about art.
That's
This is just so fun.
Amazing. This is now. Now I've been doing this show for what, 14 years or something like that, 12 years, something like that. I think, and people who've seen this show or heard me babble on about nothing, this is the most quiet I've ever been. I'm just like,
Right?
the whole
Right?
time I'm going, these are great stories. I love this, and you know what I mean? That, like, yeah, that took me to that was a journey right there.
It
That
was.
was fantastic.
We learned a lot about art
Absolutely loved
just
it.
through that.
Where's that camera going?
Right.
Okay, so
If you move over towards Artemis, right here in the middle, right there, you're good.
there you go.
Do we have this?
Yep, we got
Yep,
it.
there
Got
you
it.
go.
This
Look at
is a
that.
piece I call Cascade. It is acrylic on plywood with polyurethane over it. And you'll note it's a little bit bendy, but it's not framed up yet either.
It's okay if he leans that up against her, buddy.
Yep, that's fine. You're good.
If it'll stay.
All right.
All right.
That was, it's part of a triptych. The other two are back there. We lost one of our founding members here when this was Artisan Forge Studio, the late Christy Scubin.
Let's get up here.
Yeah, yep. Get close to the mic
The
there.
late Christy Scubin, who was a friend, a mentor, a beautifully creative woman, and just a neat person.
Yeah.
And sadly, she's no longer with us.
But she has amazing art represented here.
She has
I
amazing-
wish we could show that too, and maybe I'll try and find a link to it that we can share it.
And I think you can. These I had told her about, and she wanted to see them. I'd sent her pictures via Facebook, etc. And I never did get to show her the real thing. So we had a little memorial for her a couple weeks ago, and here they sit. So
No.
thanks, Christy. and
Yeah, thank you, Christy.
Dan,
I mean, she inspired such great art and
Yeah.
collaboration and community
great
here.
art, love, and
I
just-
never met her, so I can't speak from experience, but
You would have liked her.
yeah, I would have loved her. I mean, the way people talk about her and how she inspired an artistic community here, I think it's just amazing.
Well, she and I, in 2016, were amongst the first crew of people in here. And I had come, Kevin was talking about the community, the search for community. I had been working out of a studio in Banbury, which was a beautiful space. I do digital photography in addition to the painting, but it was working in isolation. Cool old building, but nobody ever came around. And then this started cooking, if you will. And I got wind of it. I came in February of 16. She came in the following month. So this was, it used to be a truck garage and an auto dealership. So this was all painted gray. And it's now this nice modern looking white. But Christy and I painted this place anything but that gray. We painted it the colors of a Wisconsin summer, the yellows, the greens, the blues, and
Hey, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Hand him that mic and you take that one because you're used to being up on close on one, and he can have that one in his hand and he can.
All right.
There you go.
Good idea, sir.
All right, there we go.
okay.
So now we can kind of, we could make sure that
Are you getting me?
Yes, make sure we
gotcha.
get you.
Pardon.
Oh, you're all good.
So yeah, it was all greens and blues and yellows and hung with art, and the new building had yet to be constructed, and little kids and old ladies would come in here and they'd say, "We'd like to live in this place," and it was beautiful.
I agree.
It was magic. It was it's creativity, and we maintained for a long time that sense of community amongst ourselves as artists, as parts of the greater community. We would have kids come in, school groups and various other artists, just as you have, and that's a cool show you got, man.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So yeah,
I'm honored, Tom.
well,
Thank you.
dude. I'm glad we're doing this. This is.
And you were just speaking past tense. I think this is still a beautiful, inspiring, amazing establishment.
I want it to just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
If we can do it, if we can pull this off, that'll be a triumph.
Well, I'll do whatever I can to help. I don't
this-
have money, so
I
I can't buy
don't
for
either.
you.
Let's all pull together here.
This is not
got
a
5
money-making
cents.
proposition by any means.
Right.
And I no longer have a studio here. I operate out of my house, and my studios are photographic and painting, and I'm a musician as well.
Nice.
And then actually, that's what got me. That's what got me going when I was a kid, and I heard Brownie McGee and Sonny Terry, and it just blew me away. It's like, whoa! It was not Pat Boone or any of the other crap that I seem to be hearing on the radio. It was like different.
Yeah.
And it moved me, and it's like, fuck! I want to play like. Pardon me. I want to play like that, and. So it was music, and then as I got into,
We're not going to censor you. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
No.
No censors.
No,
You're
please,
good.
here.
You're good.
Mind
You're
my
good.
mouth,
You're all
but
good.
sometimes I just kind of
Yeah. Hey,
fuck up.
well, you got a very diverse audience listening, so
Well,
Yes.
you're fine.
This is art. This is art.
It is.
So yeah, and then I look at my history, my lost childhood. There was so much that I was curious about, and then there was so much I was like terrified by. And it was the social shit that terrified me.
Yeah.
What the hell am I? What am I going to do with myself?
Right.
And by the time I hit my teens, the answer was do dope and drink.
Right.
And so I became a very enthusiastic to miserable adolescent, early adult alcoholic.
Sure.
Went to rehab in '84 and fuck booze,
Right.
There's better ways to live. So that was one of the first of many fortunate occurrences that I often find myself thinking, there are themes that run throughout my life, and so much of them kind of gets filed under, boy, that was dumb, and you are lucky. So it was removing that fog of fear, that fog of addiction, that fog of just whatever. The fog.
Mm-hmm.
And it was learning to say, fuck that.
Yeah.
I will be who I will be.
Right.
And, in the mid-'80s, I was in St. Paul, and that was a fun time to be in the city.
Oh, yeah.
I was playing guitar, kind of bluegrassy stuff, and then I'd do a lot of slide, too, so I was having fun that way. I had read some notable pieces of literature, Confederacy of Dunces, if you guys have ever read that, by John Kennedy Toole. Check it out. It's the only book the guy ever wrote. And then he
Pull that closer.
took himself out, but it's a wonderful one. It's absurdism, it's surrealism, and I think we
check it out.
We catch that vibe throughout your show.
Confederacy of Dunces.
Confederacy of Dunces by John Kennedy Toole. It came out in 69 or 70. Okay. It's a great book. Anyways, it was the nature of the underground, if you will, that got me going.
Mhm.
And that fed into my musical interest because, you know, here I was playing bluegrass guitar and harmonic, blues harp, and nobody else among my circle was.
And what year was this?
We're talking starting in the early 70s when I was essentially a kid up through now. So, in fact, I just got a new guitar a couple weeks ago.
There you go. Congratulations.
Yeah, beautiful little Fender.
So didn't you, Jordan? Just got a new guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So, but yeah, and then you know, music, just the free flow, the ability to improvise, to create rhythms, melodies. You're if you're working well, you're going to other places, and that's a metaphor that works for the visual arts, for the oral, for the spoken word, for whatever you care to construct. And that's, I guess, what I was always looking for, was that escape, that take myself off to a nicer place. And that generally was something that I kept in my mind and my imagination and learned how to bring forth through these various media.
After the fog was lifted.
After the fog
It gets a bit easier to be able to see that, right? Yeah.
You know, you do. You see what you're looking at.
But I think it feels like sometimes when you're experimenting with drugs or alcohol, it feels like you're expanding your mind to be able to observe that stuff. But then when you're, like you say, you go in a little too deep, and maybe you're like, the drink or the dope is more important in that particular time frame. And then once you cut that out, you're left with that openness of like, wow, I really was in that depth, and I could see that, and I could feel that a little bit more, the emotions to it.
So many, I've heard so many people try to justify their excesses by saying they could not create if they were sober, and I say horseshit to that.
Right,
you know?
right, absolutely.
Agreed.
There are a ton of musicians and a ton of artists that use that as a theme, which inevitably was their downfall in the long run. You know what I mean? Like they to excess, then they ended up killing themselves or became depressed, and then, you know, something happened. You know what I mean? Like, or they just consumed by it too much. You know?
But if they can get past that crap and then create art from awfulness, is what
Right,
it is.
right.
It's art from awfulness.
Yeah.
Whether it's personal, whether it's the greater societal crap that we are awash in, you know.
I seen a lot of that in Basquiat stuff.
Yes, exactly. There's an anger there. There's a sensibility there. The street art stuff.
Yeah.
Banksy just popped out a new one.
Right.
Yep.
Like,
Totally.
and you see that.
I liked when you didn't know him
Yeah.
better. I liked when his stuff would just pop up, just like you're like,
and
what?
dude, that's what fascinated me with the whole idea of the underground artist.
Right.
You know, you're going to do this stuff, and who's ever popping out those
The monolith. Oh, I know what you.
Monolith,
Yeah. Sure, we're talking about.
whoever's doing that crap, I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but that's a different thing. You maintain your anonymity, sort of, because you're every person, if you will, and you have that freedom to make the commentary that needs to be made, but people are afraid to make.
Right.
Yeah.
So you
And
bust
that's
it.
why I created a brand.
Yeah.
I created my own little alien to channel my pain, my anguish. I spent 13 years suffering from a chronic health condition that I eventually beat, but a lot of my art came out of that space, you know, and being able to create that different brand and personality gave me that clarity and that comfort to be that person with the anonymity.
Right. And that person with his anonymity creates these images that each one has a story, and each one comes from a place.
Right.
You do it, I do it, all of us here are. This is kind of how we work.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're lucky, you deal with things. You are a survivor.
Yep.
And you can have fun again too.
Yeah.
Is what I've found. You can let your fascinations meander, wander.
Yep.
Peregrinate through this. What was that old REM line? The great pageant of life's
I
rich
look at it
pageant.
like my bonus time. Like, you know, I got past that, and now anything I do is gravy, and I don't have to
Right.
worry about it. And it's just me producing.
Yep.
You know, there's no holds barred. There's nothing holding me back. It is what I want to do. You know.
And you know, but praise be to Allah and whoever else. It's going to be 40 years this freaking June that I have not had a drink. And
Oh,
I'll
congratulations,
take care of
man.
those deals.
Congratulations, man.
It's amazing.
That's very cool.
It's liberating. It's made life a lot easier. It has not, of course, removed any of the difficulties or given me any more teeth or anything. Anything else that might be handy, but sure.
So you were one of the founding members of Artisan?
I was. There was a handful of us, about 7 people, back in that late winter and early spring of 16, and we came together here looking for community. We had a lot of fun, and we had blacksmith forges out in the garage base there, and glass blowers, and I had all my photography going. I had a neat little studio where I was doing things out of. Christy was working here. By and by, the Schaefer Miles came along. Pat came along. Many, many people who are good friends of mine have all worked through here. Kevin noted the vibrancy of the Eau Claire scene, and it's a cool one. We come from every point, you know, and the commonality is it's love. We love we love one another. We love our community, and we certainly would love to see things nicer in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can
That's
do
what we
that,
try and do.
if you can do that through art, then you're obligated to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pass it on to other people, too, you know, pay it forward.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And sometimes the message has to be difficult. I mean, we do have a challenge with art to make us stand and communicate.
Well, yeah, and you know, you look at Picasso's Guernica and various pieces like that came out. What's going to be ours for this? Somebody's got to call.
Right.
Got to call BS on this shit.
Right.
Right.
What's it going to look like?
Yeah.
I hope it's not vast explosions.
Yeah.
Right.
Mayhem, but
But it's our responsibility.
yeah. So.
The last defense against a crazy world, right?
Yep.
But who
Yep.
do they come for first?
Sanity.
Probably the gay guys and the ones who don't, but then the artists.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Anyways, fellas.
Well, Tom, thank you so much for being here.
Yes,
today
thank you
and
very
for
much.
sharing your stories. And is there a way people can follow you or see your
Well,
art in
right
digital?
now, you would have to track me down on Facebook, and I think I'm like Thomas Gardner 3 or something.
Okay. I'll find you.
There's always there's links through artists or through 1106 probably. Pat can always find me.
But do you have your art
I don't
displayed anywhere that people could access?
just here. It's not online.
Okay.
I times got tough and my circumstances were reduced, so I had to pull back on
Sure.
digital
Understood.
presence and.
Make sure, folks, if you get a chance to stop out here at the Artisan Forge, 1106, and check out some of your work. And all the other artists here are fantastic.
Yeah, this is a cool place, and it deserves to be known. It deserves to be a destination.
It does.
And
I
a
agree.
place where people can come from outside of our community, which the hell you are in our.
Thank you.
We
Thank you.
Yes.
are.
We are
Yes.
the community.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 1106 Mondovi Avenue in good old Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You betcha.
Have a
That was
fantastic
Thomas
yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Thomas Gardner.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Formally.
All right. So now next we've got a local artist named Jeff. I'm sorry, Jeff, I don't know your last name, but we're going to talk about some really cool art that he's brought.
Yeah, he's right there.
You can bring it up so we can put it on so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a
I
look, man.
fully agree. It is right here.
You
so-
could just come back here and
And,
you'll be able to catch
we'll
it.
give
It's
you
a good
this.
size, good size picture, so we'll be able to
So
see that.
let's see. Let's get it up here first.
Yeah, right,
So Jeff, what's your
right there.
Here, that's yours.
Yeah, you can use that one too,
use that
just as long as you're right up on it. It's
Yep.
it's they're Yeah, there you go. Yep, you're right there.
Okay. So, Jeff,
yes.
welcome, man. I just met you today. This is exciting to have another local artist on our podcast here.
Yep.
Tell us more about yourself.
Well, my name is Jeffrey. My legal name is Kundinger. My artist name is L'Esperance. I found that through my dad's side. But I actually was born in Eau Claire, but I was raised in a small town called Phillips. So, not to get too deep, but it was a struggle growing up where I did grow up, and that's where all of the time where this. So I have a piece at Two Roots, which is like an alien invasion. It's kind of dark, isolating kind of feeling. So that was during the pandemic where everyone is isolated and like in their own kind of minds and shit. And 4 years later, this is another like rebirth, and this is called perspective to completely re-look at your situation of pain and kind of look at it from a new lens and completely realize the time you wasted just destroying your mind. And like people need to understand the truth about being in harmony with the source of God, you want to call it, or the universe, you want to call it. But you need to be in harmony or you get left behind. Whatever shit you're fucking dealing with, like something from your past, drug use or whatever, like you have to find a solution or perspective to get over it, I guess.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Divorced, chronic health condition. I've had all sorts of transition in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Art helped me get through those things, either publishing books and writing or doing paintings.
Yeah, it just keeps
venting. You just can't turn off the flow. You got to keep on evolving. I mean, that's what the whole Sere concept is all about. That's not my name. It's an acronym that I developed about evolution. And I think that's a really important process for any artist, is that evolving that perspective.
100%.
Yeah.
Where would you say your art has evolved from, like, even a few years ago, like the obvious evolution and within it?
Yeah, I mean, I think people that have come today and have seen my art said they like my earlier stuff better because maybe I was, I think I'm more experimental now. Like, I got to a plateau of myself, of my perspective, and now I'm trying to do things a little bit differently and integrate different styles or different materials or, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know if I get bored easy. I just want to try a lot of different things. I like the experience of a painting. And sometimes, the texture is more important than a visual to me. I use resin to create more textures within a painting.
Yeah, those, they have, almost looks like it's like you can look within it.
Yep.
Those ones are like the skeleton one over there.
Yep.
You can have those layers are really cool.
Yeah, the layers are important to me. I'll do one layer of acrylic, I'll do resin, and then I'll do another layer. Sometimes I'll do multiple layers, so there's a layered effect of the painting itself. And it will matter, how you look at the painting will be, what your perspective of it is. And
Now,
everyone's perspective will change.
Now, I saw, like I said earlier today, when I saw some of these live, I felt like they had more depth to them live than when I've seen them digitally.
And,
you know what I mean? And it's like, obviously you use resins and there's different levels to it, but seeing them, sometimes like there was one over there that I really felt like was more ominous in person than it was, on the computer. I was just like, wow, that's really cool. It, really spoke to you, jumped out at you more.
Right. It brings me like up to a point of I hate that we have to be advanced in like this digital world to be able to articulate yourself through a computer screen, and it's not real life. You're not going to be able to feel someone's presence through a screen, and you're not going to be able to understand what's real through a screen. So
what's crazy is that we're so reliant on getting people to be able to experience that thing that you know what I mean, that feel of it all, the realism of it all, you know what I mean, like you have to use the networking to get people to come in to feel it, where sometimes organically when I was younger anyway, you had to be there to see it. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of the older folks are happy that there weren't camera phones when we were younger. You know what I mean? As opposed to like, you know, some of the stuff that we got away with, or you know,
the war.
Yeah.
The real war
Yeah.
is the people who are turning into NPCs, you want to call them.
Yeah.
Versus the people who have the absolute harmony and the ability to create whatever the fuck they want.
Mhm.
And that's what we need to talk about in this world, and that's what they're trying to suppress. And like, there's just young people just completely programmed by, because it's so advanced now, so you can literally like psychology people and like use their insecurities against them and shit like that. So it's getting very dangerous to be online. And like, I think like the universe is saying, if you are in harmony, is saying like, we need to talk about this shit. We need to be speaking about.
So how do we get people more involved? To your point, my art doesn't work as well, even though I have books with hundreds of pages and hundreds of paintings. It doesn't work as well when it's just digitized. I digitize because I have to, but the real experience is, you know, seeing Schaefer Miles do a painting live and being like blown away by the oil experience that they're having, or showing up to a gallery show and seeing the depth of layers of texture and really experience a painting. I think that's getting lost, you know, or maybe that's just my impression, but you seem to confirm that, you know.
Hey man, I would say it's kids and these right here, dude, because you see moms and dads when they're busy and they don't have the time to sit down like parents should sit down and do. They give them one of these devices and they sit there and they digitally, they're like focused on it, and nothing else around them matters. They could be in the middle of a beautiful waterfall and they're just like focused on this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, take it away. Like, you know, like Pat was saying with the colored pencils and the crayons, and you know, it's 64 crayons with the sharpener. That's what needs to happen, in my opinion, is that hands-on thing and not the digital experience all the time, especially growing up. That's your formative years when you want to touch and you want to feel and you want to have that experience. That digital thing does not do the same thing it did, you know. It just doesn't, you know, to have the hands-on thing and, you know, put the paint on a kid's hand and have them do what they want to do. You know what I mean? To feel that texture, that feeling. I think that's what has to really happen is
and reinforce that there's no wrong answer.
Yeah.
And to empower their ability to just trust themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Support the creativity, man. Enforce it, reinforce it.
This isn't a game that any of us win. You know, we're all artists contributing to community and the perspectives and
as I say this on a digital platform.
Well, it's necessary for promotion. We get it. But hey, at least people are getting to see Jeffrey's great perspectives
Yes.
here.
Cool shirt, by the way, too. That's a very cool shirt.
The dude does tie-dye.
I do a ton of tie-dyes, too. I was like checking it out. I'm like, is that printed? What's going on there? Did you actually create that shirt?
No, I thrifted this one.
Oh, it's awesome, man. It looks really cool.
Yeah, tie-dye's the way.
Yeah, to create something like that, it's a process. It's cool.
I tie-dyed my pants. It's kind of faded now.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Anything else?
Back to the something you said about how easy it was to just give someone a phone and have them just easily, you know.
Yeah, be consumed by it. Yep.
Yeah. Or to give them a phone to have them be distracted easily, or taking them away from the life or whatever.
Sure.
Shit, I guess I forgot what I was gonna go off of that.
It happens.
I mean, I pretty much said a lot of what I wanted to talk.
Well, where can people find your art?
So les.exp is the Instagram.
Okay.
So
I'll find that for sure.
Hell yeah.
Are you
right
a Facebooker? Well, you got Instagram, so you have to
it'd be
be. Do you have a
Jeffrey,
page or anything?
Yeah, Jeffrey L'Esperance is the Facebook. Most of my shit has been more practicing than preaching because I haven't really been trying to get it out there.
Sure.
Because I don't know, I enjoy just being in my own space and, you know.
But you have to give people a way to interact and
100%.
find your stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I found over decade of doing this and creating gallery books of my art is that those serve a purpose.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
As much as I don't want to digitize them, and you can't really get the experience off
Yeah.
the pages, it's still important because people will show up and go, hey, look at all that you've created.
Yeah, and at the end of the
And
day,
you remember what you created, and you remember what the name of it is. After hundreds of paintings, that becomes a challenge.
yeah, and like what you create almost builds like a certainty of yourself, you know.
Yes.
And like
Confidence.
a lot of the times we are like struggling to like, well, my generation, Gen Z, we're like, we're fucked. Our futures are fucked. Everyone's buying the mortgages, $1 million companies. Everything is just looking doomful to like pursue something like, oh, let's just do a dumbass job. And, you know, there's things that don't make sense. So we struggle to find like hope in this world, and just doing something to continuously see the progression builds like a security of yourself, and you like see that you can actually make something dope that you like, and you're like, oh shit, I actually am cool. I'm not like, well, my brain's telling me that I'm a piece of shit or whatever, you know.
Right.
It's
You don't
not
really need the validation of anyone else.
Exactly.
It's the completion of a piece
Right.
that really validates you.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's that evolution, that progress that you're making yourself.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
That's what it's about.
Well, Jeffrey or Jeff? Either way?
Either
way.
way, but Jeffrey is like, I guess I had a chapter in my life where I was more Jeff, and I was like kind of in my like I'm too tough for this world, I'm too cool.
Oh yeah,
Like,
we all
love.
been there.
It's all about love, and it's all about you know, expressing yourself. And anyone who's a narcissist, you know, look at them deeper, and they're scared, you know.
Yeah.
They're scared people.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, Jeffrey, thanks for coming.
Thank you
down.
very much,
Thanks
man.
for joining us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No
I
problem.
think they were saying
Thanks
that
for having me on.
there was another local artist that actually wanted to sit down and have a chat with us too.
Was there?
Yes, a couple more.
Renee. Yeah, let's do
Come
that.
on in, Jeffrey. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you,
I appreciate it, man. That's a great,
We'll add
great
more
piece.
information on
Yes.
my socials and maybe your
Yeah.
socials about how to access
For
these
sure.
artists. So if you're watching online, you know, we'll provide more information to you.
Yes,
So
and thank you very much for joining us too, folks, and taking a listen and looking at everything. Come on in.
come on in.
Have a seat.
We're just live on YouTube.
You choose where you sit. Just do me a favor and stay close to the mic. They can hear us out here, but online, I want to make sure that everybody still gets you.
I gotta make sure you're in the shot.
There you go.
All right, and this is yours.
Just make sure that you're talking
it
to
on?
the mic. Yeah, it should be.
Up.
There you go. Go ahead. It should be on.
It's on. There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Is it on?
It is on.
Are you sure?
I am.
Are you positive? Say hello.
Hello?
Nope, it's not on. Click it up. Push it up. There you go. Now it should be on. Say hello again.
Hello?
There you go. Hello, how's it going? Welcome to the show. I'm Greg. This is Artemis. How are you? What's your name?
I'm Renee.
Renee, what do you do?
I am mostly a sculptor. I also do, I've been getting back into linoleum carving, playing with paint a little bit here and there.
How did you get started doing the stuff that you do?
Which part?
The sculpture.
I was given polymer clay for my 7th birthday, and it kind of stuck. And now it's slowly taking over every living space.
Nice.
Piece by piece, is that? Yeah. That's awesome.
Occasionally I find things under things when I'm cleaning.
Do you add pieces to pieces after you find them?
Sometimes. Sometimes I find half-finished work, and I just add to it or modify it. It varies.
Sure. Now, how did you get involved in the 1106?
Honestly, I think I was just bopping around, and I talked to Christy Scubin a little bit, because I know they were looking for some art for like the gift shop area, and I think I sent an email, and then I ended up being in one of the holiday markets that they had.
What type of pieces were you selling at that point?
A lot of jewelry. I think mostly jewelry and small figurines, mostly sculpture.
Nice. How long have you been doing it?
Sculpting. I've been working with polymer clay about 22 years now.
That's a good long time right there.
Since
That's
7.
impressive.
So what was some of the first stuff that you were sculpting as a kid? Just like
Dollhouse miniatures, a lot of doll food, small turtles, mostly little pieces that the toys didn't come with, or that they didn't make them as interactive as they could have been.
Mm-hmm.
You made them better. You made your toys better.
Right. This toy needs an extra plate of fettuccine Alfredo. Lots of noodles.
It was mostly that a lot of it didn't come with food.
Right.
And it just needed things that weren't glued to the plate.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that. Then I kind of branched into fairy garden miniatures for a while. And now I do a lot of miniature pieces as earrings or pendants.
Nice.
Do you have that pendant? Oh, yeah.
This one?
Can we get that on camera?
Yeah, she just needs to lean towards that one, I think, right
I guess
there.
You don't have the ability to.
Zoom in. I could probably zoom in, I bet you.
I could take it off, too.
You could take it off. There you go. So let's try and get it. Because this is super impressive. I really wanted to make sure we got this on video because the detail of the piece is very impressive, Renee. And if this is an example of your work, love to be able to share.
What is that made out of? Just like regular?
This is polymer clay. And I've got a couple little, just some brass rings in there that came out of a mixed bag.
Just to strengthen the back of it so it doesn't like break into little pieces?
It adds a little steampunk flair.
Oh, nice.
And then I used a little bit of wire to attach the pieces together. And then the ends of the wire stab up into the piece to hold it to the base. So it's
awesome.
very durable as is. It's pretty lightweight.
Yeah.
And then it survives a decent amount.
Let me get out of that. My bad. There you go, buddy.
I'm sure it was. You can see it.
I could zoom in on it too, I think.
Yeah. Totally rad.
Sorry, it's taking me forever to do this. All right, there you go. Whee, whoop. There you go.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
Well done, my friend.
So many moving parts for
Yes,
for two cameras, and I'm like trying to
You are
zoom
doing
in on
great.
it. Just
Thank
sorry.
you.
Try to put it all together.
So tell us more about your art presence and where people can find you and how people can access your art. Do you have a Facebook page? Do you have a website?
Not a website yet. I have a Facebook page. It's called Paper and Clay by Renee.
Okay.
I have the same username on Instagram and TikTok. Eventually, I will build a page.
Okay.
And it'll probably have the same name, if not similar.
Do you do like demonstrations on TikTok, or is it mostly just to present?
That's where I've got a lot more process videos.
That's cool.
It doesn't have every detail because that would take a long time.
Yeah.
It hits the highlights.
Very cool.
Some of them show different techniques. Some show different tools. And then I try to cross-post those videos to Instagram and Facebook as well.
That's awesome.
They're not all transferred yet, but it
But
gets
creating
there
an educational
eventually.
process for your audience that reveals like how you do what you do, I think that's a really important angle for an artist to be a thought leader and to share the content.
Yes, for sure.
What about this? Can we talk about that?
That was a 3 a.m. idea.
Not
And
3 a.m., 3 a.m.
The only person in the group chat who was still awake enabled it.
Can we see that? Sorry, Renee. I'm blocking
problem.
you.
Let me
It
see
says,
this.
party like it's 1789, and it's got a guillotine.
Yeah. That's
That is
awesome.
brilliant.
I was scrolling a lot, and it was going between art videos and fun how-to videos, and then some protests in France, and then back to the art videos, and it just kind of went back and forth. And I'm like, I can do something with it.
But
So did you screen print that yourself too?
Oh, that's linoleum stamps.
Oh, nice.
So I carved, I took my design, I put it on paper, transferred it to tracing paper, put that on the stamp, carved off what I didn't want, rolled the ink on it, kind of saw how it printed, made some adjustments, and then now I can just lay out the shirt, make sure there's no wrinkles, put the ink on the stamps, flip them onto the shirt, jump up and down on them a few times. I don't have a printing
How
press.
big are they?
Ish.
Okay.
They're not terrible. I have a board that I put down and then I just stand on it to make sure the ink gets pressed.
Just kind of
into
give the good rock on it. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
'Cause
That's
I tried
awesome.
I tried printing without using any additional weight to get it to imprint, and it wouldn't.
You just need it to mush down enough
Yeah.
to squish the ink out a bit more,
Very it's a good anti-stress project.
right?
Sounds like there needs to be some like tie dye and
Right?
stamping.
Yeah, that would be
collaborations
really
going on
cool.
here.
Yeah,
That'd be
that would be awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. That's very cool.
You
And
also have a Medusa. Do you do? Do you have like a line of shirts or?
Just kind of whatever ideas come up, and then if the stamp will print on fabric, I do run a couple shirts with that. I've branched into totes a little bit. I tried printing just on straight canvas, like duck cloth. Can't find it anymore, but I had some nice dagger prints on that. It was bright green cloth with black ink, and it looked all right. Somewhere in my fabric stash. Waiting.
Don't we all have fabric stashes?
Well, your
I mean-
process is amazing for both of these.
Yeah, very cool.
You're like a wizard.
Thank you.
That's a huge compliment. You know that, right?
you
You're like a
know?
wizard. Thank you.
I
I
feel that
love
way
it.
when I
I would be like
experiment,
that.
You know, like I never would have thought, this kind of art could be possible. So even learning about new types of experimentation is exciting.
And you can print linoleum onto canvas too if you support the canvas underneath, or if you don't mount it beforehand.
Okay. Man, I might have to try this sometime.
It would just depend on if it's gessoed or not.
Okay.
So if you have like more of an absorbent surface texture.
Okay. And you would recommend?
I think that
yes,
last
gesso?
part was in Japanese because I didn't
experiment with it, honestly.
understand any of
Just
that
see
right there.
Kind of what
A few of my
sticks.
pictures are use gesso, mostly for textures. And I do have a few that I use that as the main base for the picture. But interesting. This is.
I use it so I don't use as much paint.
Yeah, I like it. I like
It's a
it.
cool idea.
Well, you're a great artist, Renee. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to share about your art or your connection to Artisan Forge? 1106?
I can't really
No.
think of anything.
All right.
Well, thank you for showing us your pieces.
Yeah.
Very
Keep
cool
up the great
stuff.
art.
Thanks.
Yep. There you go.
All right.
Awesome. Well, this has been a hell of an experience, my friend.
Yeah, this has been eye-opening, amazing.
Thank you for sharing all of your stories too. That's very great, and it's made the podcast that much cooler. And hopefully, the experience that people will see on YouTube at later times, they can watch it at any time. It'll be up now. It's still going right now, but just the experience that they're able to watch these and go through the stories and touch your art and where they can find your art. I think it's going to help the community as well. Hopefully, like I said, this is primarily based with music is what we do, but with Artemis, so for so many years, he's been my inspiration for a lot of digital art and things that I've done personally. So being a part of this with him has been such a great experience for me. So thank you very much for allowing us to do this here. Jordan for joining us because he just came back to the podcast. This is my original co-host, and he's been such a great help, like setting everything up too. So thank you very much to everybody for joining us. Thank you, brother. This has been a fantastic thing.
Well,
So-
Pat,
I just wanted to say, can we take just a second for the audience to help shout out some of the other places in Eau Claire that we want to also say are part of our Eau Claire?
Yeah, if you want to.
So we've got Tangled Up in You here as one of the greatest.
well, we need a microphone. We need a
Yeah,
microphone.
yeah. Just
Otherwise
so
it
you
won't be
can
on
just
YouTube.
just
It'll just
If you just want to shout them out
You're
or
the
whatever you got to
expert.
do, that'd be great.
All right, so we're going to take a second to highlight some of the other
Well, yeah, I
great
just
art.
think that we talk about the 1106, and really that's just the beginning. We're just one little spot into this bigger hub of art in Eau
Right.
Claire. And I just wanted to be sure that the rest of the art scene knows that it's not a comparison. It's not us versus you. It's all of us supporting each other and realizing that to connect the art to the person who needs to have that art in their life, that's what we want to do. So if your art is
community.
tangled up in hue,
Yeah.
we want to send you there. If we want you to, have a beautiful piece of art, you go to Two Roots. We go to Banbury Place. We go downtown, you know what I mean, to all
Yep.
the other little spaces. So the artists who are creating in their homes. And I just want the audience, if you have missed someplace, can you shout out another space in Eau Claire? There's a lot
Pat,
more. I
there you
know.
go.
The Pablo, how could I forget that? It's one of the keystones of the whole community, is a beautiful gallery at the Pablo Center. Any others that people have in their mind? All the murals, the Gallumet Gallery as well, the sculpture tour. It just keeps going and going and going. So thank you for helping us share that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this is on YouTube, so please engage and share this too, so we can help kind of, share the love with the rest of the world in the Twin Cities. Get
Yep.
them here, appreciating all the great places in Eau Claire where art is taking place, and I'm honored, beyond honored, to be part of this whole experience. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Trilly. Thank you for coming. And
Yeah, thanks for sticking around.
yeah, our podcasts always go long.
Yes.
So
It does.
it just has a way of doing
You
that.
know what? And
but
I
we've
think
got great
that
stories
is
today.
that is okay because there are so many fantastic stories and how art has molded people's lives and how they've gone to or come to this community to be part of it. And I think it's very important for people in general to find like-minded people to stimulate that creativity, to inspire them to do more, to lift the fog, to see and create some of this beautiful stuff. And I mean, without all this, you know what I mean? The world can be so dull, without it.
Yeah.
So,
and I would say, following this podcast, check my socials, check the Ritual Madness podcast socials, and we'll try and provide extra links to highlight the rest of the artists we've talked about here today. And maybe we didn't get to highlight their actual art, but if you were paying attention this whole podcast, we owe it to you to get you some links to find what these people are doing. And
Yeah, absolutely.
this is an inspiring place. If I could do a walkthrough video, maybe we'll try and do that sometime.
Sure.
But everyone needs to experience this place and the art of Eau Claire. Obviously,
Absolutely.
we have amazing artists in this city. So thank you.
yes, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone who's listening on the podcast. As always, do me a favor and check out Lowbrow Saints Tattoo Collective, 612-353-4755, lowbrowsaints@gmail.com, and our new sponsor, The Shred Den, open now in Osseo, Minnesota. It is open Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturdays 11 to 5, 9100 85th Avenue North, Suite 100, Osseo, Minnesota. Call them at 763-350-2191, www.theshredden.net. And thank you very much again for showing up. Make sure that I'm just clicking all kinds of stuff. Check us out, subscribe, like all the things, and we will be in touch. We'll definitely add links to things and do that all in the description as we go along. You can send me some stuff and I'll add it all to
we'll
this.
find a way to make it happen.
Again, thank you very much for coming and enjoying this. And dude, congratulations. It's fantastic. Thank you, Jordan. And have a good evening, everyone. Peace out. Love.
Ritual Madness Podcast. Ritual Madness Podcast. Ritual Madness Podcast. Ritual Madness.